the Cardcaptor Wizard of Hogwarts. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Continuous Surprises. In the early morning, a handsome young man stared at the envelope in front of him. His name is Adam Lee. He's a mixed race, and today is the day before his 11th birthday in this life. Originally, his plan today was to get up early and go for a morning run, just like every other day, but this morning the fat Scottish round-faced chicken broke his peaceful day. It can also be said that it broke his peaceful life. His original life plan was to study hard and make progress every day, and then inherit his mother's 7 Chinese restaurants and his father's 3 French restaurants, enjoy his healthy body and spend his ordinary life. But now, looking at the school emblem consisting of a lion, a snake, a badger, and an eagle surrounding the capital letter H on the envelope, Adam seemed to see a noseless bald man suddenly entering his future life who smiled. He just recalled that he and the famous savior happened to be born in the same year, and the birthdays were 6 days apart. In other words, if this letter was not a prank by someone, he happened to enter school in the same year as Harry Potter. Period. It is a pity that there is no fantasy novel called Harry Potter in this world and this era. In other words, if nothing unexpected happens, he will spend an exciting 7 years in the safest magic school in the world. In the first year, Voldemort came to steal the Sorcerer's Stone. In the second year, the Basilisk invaded. In the third year, the Dementors came to the school. In the fourth year, the Triwizard Tournament was restarted. In the fifth year, Umbridge physically punished the students. In the sixth year, the principal was attacked. After his death, the 7th year school directly turned into a battlefield. Wow, it's really exciting. Laughs. Hey, Mom, how is your business today? Well, I miss you too. The main reason I'm calling is to talk to you about my decision to go to junior high school in China, or the United States or France, but not on the UK. I'm not talking nonsense. I'm not sick. I'm mentally stable. I haven't told Dad yet. Well, I will wait for you to come back. After hanging up the phone, Adam opened the envelope, looked at the wording inside, which was almost the same as in his memory, and sighed. Whenever he was born 7 years earlier or 7 years later, Hogwarts was his dream school. He could jump up and down with excitement when he received this letter, except during this time period I can only see if I have the opportunity to go to Hogwarts to be a teacher for a year after graduation. And take a look around. Her parents came back faster than expected. After arriving home, Ms. Lee hurriedly threw her bag on the sofa and entered the family meeting mode. Mr. Reed also quickly rushed to the battlefield after parking the car. My dear, if you feel tired from studying, we can definitely take a year off and take a break. Although we always praise you because of your good grades, we don't love you because of your good grades. No matter how good your studies are, you are a pride. You must not be burdened. The store is not busy during this time. How about we go to Disney World for a while? Perhaps. It was because they had communicated in the car before, but both of them obviously thought that Adam said this because he was under too much pressure to study. Mom and Dad, it's not because of study pressure. Adam took out the Hogwarts letter and showed it to the two of them. It's because of this. Adam did not hide the fact that he was a wizard. Although he did not plan to go to Hogwarts, he still planned to learn magic. Hogwarts is not the only magic school in the world. His grandmother is French and his mother is Chinese. He can go anywhere. It is always safer than the dire straits of Hogwarts. Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The two people who picked up the letter and read it looked at each other and saw a hint of confusion in each other's eyes. Is this some kind of prank? Wait, I seem to have heard this name somewhere. Mr. Reed suddenly frowned and fell into memory. Exclamation mark. The Ministry of Magic's Oblivion has something slipping through the net. Just when Adam was surprised, Mr. Reed slapped his head. Ah, I remembered. Isn't this the fairy tale my parents told me when I was a child? Dragons, magic, etc. It seems like a birthday surprise prepared by your grandparents for you. Recalling his childhood memories, Mr. Reed looked nostalgic. When I was 11 years old, they said there would be a surprise. In the end, they prepared a big 3-layer cake for me. I don't know what they will prepare for you. Adam opened his mouth and looked at his father with a complicated expression. He seemed, maybe, to know something. Otherwise, I'd better call my grandparents and ask. Although he roughly guessed what happened, Adam still wanted to confirm. Well, That's not good. After all, it's a surprise prepared by your grandparents. They might be unhappy if I expose it. Mr. Reed hesitated, and even regretted telling the truth so quickly. His relationship with his parents is somewhat delicate, to be honest. He has been very close to his parents since he was a child, and his parents fully supported and provided financial support when he wanted to start a business and open a restaurant. But to be honest, his parents asked him to move out the day he came of age. They rarely visited them over the years, only making phone calls at most. It's better to call and ask. I'm really curious. Let me ask. Seeing Adam's insistence, the couple had no objection. Adam directly picked up the phone in the living room and started dialing. It didn't take long for the phone to be picked up. Jerry, what's the matter, Grandpa? Adam's voice sounded from the other side. Grandpa, it's me. Oh, it's baby Adam. Do you have anything to do with Grandpa? Listening to the tone of the other person, who suddenly became softer by several degrees, Adam felt inexplicably nervous. Grandpa, do you know Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry? There was a sudden silence on the other side, and then Grandpa's somewhat excited voice sounded. Hogwarts. You got the letter, right honey? Merlin's pants. I knew it. I've been waiting for this all month. Emma. Come on, then. There was a vague call that was a little far away from the receiver, and Grandpa's voice became clear again. Listen kid, stay home, your grandparents will be here soon. After his grandfather finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Adam put down the phone, looked at his parents, and pursed his lips. Grandpa said they would be here soon. Arrived soon? But they are in Devon. Before Mr. Reed finished speaking, he heard the doorbell ringing. The three people in the room looked at each other. Mr. Reed stood up and walked to the door, opening it nervously. Mom and Dad. Oh, son, we miss you so much. The old Mr. and Mrs. Reed at the door hugged Mr. Reed, then walked directly in and walked towards Adam. Honey, show us the letter quickly. Mr. Reed standing at the door. I felt like I was loved briefly, and then pop, it was gone. Ms. Lee handed the letter to her parents-in-law and was keenly aware that Adam had not mentioned the letter on the phone just now. If the letter was prepared by the old couple, so the two of them knew about it, and the appearance now was because the two of them rushed to the neighborhood in advance, just to prepare a surprise for their son. But what happened to the phone call that went through? Okay, great, Merlin bless you. The old couple turned over the letter and envelope several times. Suddenly, old Reed raised his head. By the way, have you told your father-in-law about this? Seeing Ms. Lee's confused eyes, old Reed nodded. Okay, I'll contact you and make him happy. Adam. Any surprises? Exclamation mark. Chapter 2. I want to escape but I can. In number 039, T. Dad. Why have I never heard of such a thing? Adam's grandparents were also full of mobility, so they took the international channel of the Ministry of Magic and arrived at Adam's house before lunch. During this period, Ms. Lee, who was introduced to the wizarding world by the old Reeds and his wife, became furious as soon as her parents arrived. Although my husband had no contact with the wizarding world and regarded wizards as fairy tales, he still heard about them before confirming that Hogwarts did not send the admission notice. Why have I known nothing about this since I was a child? Adam's grandmother was asking Adam to talk about household matters, so she had no choice but to ask her old father. The way we judge whether a child has cultivation potential is different from that in the UK. When the child is in charge of the week, we will mix objects with spiritual energy into the items. If the child has the talent for cultivation, the child will naturally be equipped with spiritual energy. Objects attract. Adam's grandfather spread his hands. When you held on to the golden abacus and didn't even look at the wooden sword, copper coins, and jade pendant next to it, we knew you didn't have the talent for cultivation, but you did have the talent for business. How many miles apart are you siblings? You are the best at making money. Ms. Lee choked, then frowned and asked, then what happened to Adam? Although he was born in England, didn't you catch him when he was a child? Didn't you put that spiritual energy thing in him? Let him go. But he grabbed a book that has no spiritual energy. It turns out that he is really good at reading. It's not like when you were a child, he would go to the tree to catch you even if you were asked to read. Dad. Ms. Lee's cheeks were slightly red. Ahem, I clearly remember that the book has no spiritual energy, so Adam should not have the talent for cultivation. Is the standard here in the UK different from ours? Lee. Ziquan stroked the beard on his chin, suddenly wondering whether those in his family who were considered to have no talent for cultivation were also left out. It's not impossible, Anyway, it's a good thing that Adam received the admission notice to Hogwarts. It shows that Adam has the talent to become a wizard. Old Reed clapped his hands and looked at Adam. Grandpa will take you to Diagon Alley tomorrow to buy the things you need to prepare. Tomorrow. We'll still be grandfather, grandma. Also, wait a moment. Adam suddenly raised his voice, quieting the room that was a little noisy for a while. I don't want to go to Hogwarts. After hearing this, not to mention what the four old people thought, Adam's parents first remembered their original purpose of returning home. What? Why? Before the couple could figure it out, old Reed's voice interrupted their thoughts. Do you want to remain a muggle? As he spoke, the old wizard took out his wand and wanted to show it to his grandson. Actually, there's nothing wrong with being a muggle. Adam glanced quickly at his parents. And I just don't want to go to Hogwarts. There should be other schools in the world where you can learn magic, right? Why? Old Reed was even more surprised, and there was even a bit of grievance in his voice. Hogwarts is the best wizarding school in the world. The other three old men present who did not graduate from Hogwarts glanced at old Reed in unison. Don't be so startled. You're scaring the child, Grandma. Emma moved her fingers, and old Reed was pulled by the waistband and sat on the sofa with a bang. Then Emma held Adam's hand. Child, there's indeed more than just Hogwarts, a magic school in the world, but why don't you want to study at Hogwarts? Well, Adam hesitated and said, because I have an ominous feeling that Hogwarts is not very safe. With Dumbledore here, Hogwarts is the safest place for magic in the world. The scarf directly blocked old Reed's mouth as if it had come alive. Emma frowned and turned her head. Shut up. If Dumbledore was omnipotent, our family wouldn't have to go to China. Adam's grandmother Emma was originally French. After encountering the terrorist attacks organized by Grindelwald in France, she moved to the UK where Dumbledore was, and met old Reed in the UK after the two got married and had children. They encountered the rise of Voldemort and moved to China for the safety of their squib son. Adam's parents also met at that time. She can clearly understand that even if Dumbledore can finally solve the crisis, it does not mean that Dumbledore can guarantee that no one will die in the crisis at the same time. She did not take her grandson's premonition to heart. Adam had been smart since he was a child and would not talk nonsense. The wizard had a strong premonition about something in the future. It was not without precedent. Grindelwald, who destroyed her original home, was a wizard with a gift of prophecy. However, despite this, Emma still frowned and said, the decision between the Book of Admission and the Pen of Acceptance is irreversible. It contains extremely ancient and powerful magic. Since you received the letter from Hogwarts, it means that your name was written on it when you were born. I'm afraid it's impossible to go to other magic schools. Adam was stunned. He didn't expect this. What about transferring? I can enroll first but not go to school, and transfer directly to another magic school. I haven't heard of any precedent for this, but we can write to Dumbledore and ask him. He is your future headmaster, although he said so. Looking at his grandmother's face, Adam knew that this path would probably not work. He thought that the magic in the admission book should not be so easy to fool. Then, take a leave of absence? Just say that I am not in good health and wait a few years. That's even worse. If you don't guide the power in your body correctly at the right age, your body will be damaged and may attract some bad things, seemingly. Seeing that Emma couldn't bear to dispel Adam's hope, Grandma Shendarin took over the conversation and looked at Emma again. That's right. Little wizards don't know how to control a magic, and magic riots may occur. It's very dangerous, and we can't teach you these safely and comprehensively at home. Oh, okay, Adam sighed and had to accept the fact that he seemed to really have to go to Hogwarts. But the good news is that from this point of view, as long as he learns the spell, he can control magic, and it should be feasible to apply for a leave of absence after finishing the first year of school. In fact, the first year at Hogwarts was relatively safe. As long as you avoid the trapdoor, Professor Quirrell is still safe. The Weasley twins didn't get hurt even when they threw snowballs at Voldemort. In that case, don't send a letter to Mr. Dumbledore. If you can't change the status quo and still attract Dumbledore's attention, Adam might encounter some dangers that he wouldn't have encountered otherwise. Well, let's write a reply to Hogwarts. Tomorrow we'll take you to Diagon Alley. There are many magical things there. You'll like it. Emma touched Adam's head, looked at the worry on her grandson's face, and made a decision secretly. Chapter 3: The Sealed Book? Horcrux? As the saying goes, man's calculation is not as good as God's calculation. Before even waiting for the next day, Adam's grandparents had to go back that afternoon due to some emergencies on the other side of the ocean. Take this and pay attention to safety in school. Before leaving, Grandma took out a jade pendant and put it on Adam, and this, Grandpa took out a thread-bound book and handed it to Adam. This is the book you caught when you arrested Joe. I found it. Since you have the talent for cultivation, this book handed down from your ancestors may not be extraordinary and may be able to help you. After a few hurried explanations, the two elders left. I don't know if the Chinese side used Operation Happy Birthday to You, Happy Birthday to You. Just after 12 o'clock, the family sang Happy Birthday around the big cake filled with fruits and cream. The cream balls on the cake also clapped and danced under Grandpa's transformation spell. Adam closed his eyes and made a wish while singing. The Taoist patriarch of the Sanking dynasty, the Jade Emperor, the Western Guide, Jesus Christ, Allah, Master Milan bless you. Although I don't know who enabled me to live a second life, you must not have thrown me here just to make me die young for the second time, right? I don't ask for any other golden fingers or anything like that, just let me live peacefully, please, please, call. Opening his eyes, Adam blew out all the candles in one breath, full of hope for survival. Okay, go to bed early. Tomorrow, oh no, we have to go to Diagon Alley today. Grandpa smiled mysteriously. You'll like it there, okay, Grandpa? Although he knew what Diagon Alley had to offer, it would be false to say that Adam was not curious about Diagon Alley and the magical world, so he nodded expectantly and went upstairs to his room. Phew, it's like a dream. After returning to his room, Adam realized that too many things had happened today. I received a letter from Hogwarts and found out that my grandparents were both wizards. Well, they might have been Taoist priests or something like that, but they didn't elaborate. After maintaining a state of excitement for a day, and now relaxing all of a sudden, Adam felt tired lying on the bed. Although he was tired but not yet sleepy, Adam suddenly wanted to open the book next to him that he said he had caught Jojo and read. As soon as his fingers touched the book, Adam's vision was filled with dazzling white light, and he quickly closed his eyes and rubbed them with his hands. His eyes were irritated and shed some physiological tears, but they seemed not to be seriously damaged, and there was no stinging sensation when he rubbed them. Adam was relieved. It would be a serious matter if he went blind. Are you the contractor? The sudden sound made Adam stiffen and he quickly opened his eyes. The white light had disappeared and there was no one in front of him. Who? I'm here. After glancing around with his eyes, Adam was silent for a while and said in a soliloquy voice, is anyone talking? Here. To your left. To your left. As Adam put the book on the bedside table on the quilt, his slightly broken voice returned to its pretense of seriousness. Ahem. Let's do it again. Are you the contractor? Looking at the book in front of him that had changed drastically from the previous thread-bound book, Adam's expression was a little subtle. It seemed like he had seen this book somewhere if I remember correctly. That cartoon is called Cardcaptor Sakura? Of course, he is more familiar with Cardcaptor Sakura magic cards. In his childhood, when he watched whatever was on TV, this animation left a deep impression on Adam. In this case, could that voice just now be, what's the contractor talking about? I am the elf of the sealed book, the greatest magic tool in the world. Sign a contract with me, and I can make you a powerful magician. It is indeed a sealed book. So, what's the price? Adam lowered his voice and said cooperatively, when I recover my body, you will serve me at least 3 sweets every day, comb my hair for an hour, and play with me for an hour. It sounds like he was beaten. Don't be stupid. Your words have lowered my image. Another equally young and energetic voice sounded, and a trace of confusion flashed in Adam's eyes. The voice just now should be Zioke, but the second voice doesn't sound like you. Speaking of which, why does the sealed book in Cardcaptor Sakura appear in the world of Harry Potter? Ahem. Sorry, I was a little rude just now. The second voice interrupted Adam's thinking, but his serious tone was not much different from Zioke's pretentious state just now. Let me reintroduce you here. I am Spinaroo, and the guy just now is Kerberos. We are the sealed beasts that guard the sealed book and the Clow card in the sealed book. It turns out to be Spinaroo. But doesn't Spinaroo's sun symbolize the sun and Western magic just like Kerberos? Have you changed jobs now? Hello? Hello? Are you listening? Huh? Oh, sorry, I was distracted just now because of the shock. Adam came back to his senses and looked at the sealed book in his hand. So, you are in this book now. Do you need me to open it to get out? We are indeed in the Book of Seals, but you cannot open it yet. You must sign a contract first, otherwise the power in the Book of Seals will not recognize you as the master. Not recognizing me as the master means that the Clow cards in it will fly away one by one. Right. What is the content of the contract, and how do I sign the contract? The content of the contract is, Spinel explained the contents of the contract one by one. In simple terms, all the power in the Book of Seals will be used by Adam, and all Adam needs to pay is to provide the magic power required for the existence of the sealed beasts and the Clow cards, and he cannot abuse the Clow cards and the sealed beasts without Adam asking. Spinel took the initiative to explain the origin of the Clow cards. It was similar to what Adam remembered. It was a magic prop created by the great magician Clow by combining Eastern magic and Western magic. I see. Adam nodded, wrapped the Book of Seals with a quilt and put it aside, and got up to go out. Wait. Where are you going? Asked Grandpa and Grandma. Adam looked back at the sealed book. I need to rule out that you are all illusions created by this book to tempt me to sign a contract, or soul fragments in this book. The purpose is to make me sign a contract and give up my vitality or soul. Fortunately, he was cautious. He had not touched the sealed book directly since it showed its true form. He put it on the quilt through his sleeves. Why? Do you think so? Wait a minute, they can't see it. Only those who truly have magical talents can see the true appearance of the sealed book. Since Clow put us on that bookshelf, no one has ever discovered the specialness of the sealed book. We can't take the initiative to show up and find someone to sign a contract because of the agreement with Clow. Over the years, you are the only one who has discovered the true form of the sealed book. If you don't sign a contract with us, we will fall into deep sleep after our last magic power is used up. At that time, I don't know when we can wake up. Woo speaking, Spinner began to cry. So, that's how it is. Adam nodded, turned around and went downstairs decisively. Grandpa, Grandma. Chapter 4. Cat, shy, covers face. Okay kid, go to bed quickly. Good night. Okay Grandma. After Grandma closed the door and left, Adam put down the milk and looked at the sealed book thoughtfully. After his test just now, Grandma really couldn't see the true appearance of the sealed book, and couldn't even hear Spinneroo's voice. Do you believe it now? Spinneroo's voice revealed fatigue. He didn't know why this child was so vigilant. We need to consume a small amount of magic power to speak now. In case you still want to think about it and our magic power is exhausted later, I will tell you how to sign the contract first. If you still don't want to sign the contract in the end, please write down the method of signing the contract and keep it with the Book of Seals. As he spoke more and more, Spinneroo felt more and more tired. He didn't know whether it was because he was tired or because he really had very little magic left. Don't you have some magic wand? Adam now believes 90% of the matter about the sealed book. Well, 70% can't be more, but he really has no other means of verification now. But he remembered that Sakura had a sealing staff. Well, there is a sealing staff, but it can only be given to you after you sign a contract. The sealed book that hides the power of darkness. I signed a contract with you in the name of Adam Lee. According to what Spinneroo said just now, Adam put his hand on top of the sealed book and recited the incantation to sign the contract. At present, there are indeed no flaws in this sealed book. For his safety, he might as well give it a try. After reciting all the incantations, Adam felt a force operating within his body. He seemed to see the incantations he recited forming a contract, and when Adam's name was finally imprinted on it, the contract failed. What's going on? The voices of Spinel and Kerberos sounded together. Oh, I just tried to see if there were any flaws in this spell. Now it seems that you didn't lie to me. Adam cleared his throat without changing his expression. The sealed book that hides the power of darkness. I signed a contract with you in the name of Adam Reed. When the names were branded, Spinneroo and Kerubalus made even more shocked sounds. What's wrong? I did what you said this time. No, it's nothing. Spinneroo and Kerubalus in the sealed book looked at each other. Is this the criterion for opening the sealed book? Kirito has really implemented the standard of keeping wealth and water from outsiders to the extreme. From now on, you will be the Clow magician we serve, and we will assist you with all our heart. I will also summon you as soon as possible. After signing the contract, Adam learned about the current state of the sealed book. The magic power was in urgent need of replenishment. The two sealed beasts could not even condense into energy-saving forms. The attributes of the two sealed beasts were also learned by Adam. Kerubirus represents the sun and western magic, and Spinnery represents the moon and eastern magic at the same time. Adam also naturally gained the ability to open the Book of Seals. Opening the cover, a stack of Clow cards lay quietly in the center of the book, with a sealing staff and key stayed on top. Adam picked up the golden sealing staff and held it in his palm. Has the sealing staff always looked like this? The appearance of the sealing staff will change with the magic power of the contractor. This is the staff of darkness that Quirito once used. The voice that spoke came from Kerubirus. It seems that Adam, you and Quirito's dark magic are very compatible. Quirito's dark staff. In the name of the contract, show me your true form. The head of the rod of darkness in the key state is in the form of a disc with the sun completely wrapped by the crescent moon. After it is completely liberated, the surrounding relationship does not change, but the part of the sun is enlarged, and only the circle in the center of the sun remains in the part wrapped by the crescent moon. Those spikes symbolizing sunlight penetrated from the crescent moon. Adam waved them, feeling that they were very handy for melee combat. At the same time, the sealing staff seems to be able to adjust its size after complete liberation according to the height of the user, but the dark staff is still a head taller than Adam. But fortunately the staff is slender and the proportions are still coordinated. Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling mirror, Adam looked at himself in the mirror wearing pajamas and holding a staff of darkness. Should it be a pity or a blessing? The transformation of Magician Kuro does not include a change of clothes. Let's try the Clow card again. I need to remind you, Adam, you are still too young now, and your magic power is not enough to use the Clow card. It will. Spinneru's voice came from the suspended sealed book. Magic power will increase with age, proficiency in using magic and learning more magic knowledge. Now you can only use the Clow card once a day, otherwise it may be dangerous. 1. Time includes no license. Adam's eyes ran across the Clow cards, but he didn't find any cards. Wu-Kei is still sealed. Now you will be affected by Wu-Kei's magic power just by touching this card. Even if Wu-Kei doesn't want to do this, you will still disappear completely from this world. The two little ones were not surprised that Adam knew about the existence of no card. The information Adam would get after signing the contract was left by Quirito, and even they didn't know what it was. No card is nothingness that is opposed to everything represented by the other 52 Clow cards. If you want to use this Clow card, you not only need to have huge magic power, but you must also condense the 54 Clow cards yourself. Luo card, love, do you love cards? I know, among the 54 Clow cards, only the love card does not have. Why don't you continue asking? But Rubilus's voice was a little tangled. After all, with my current ability, I can't immediately gather the love cards if I know more, right? A smile flashed in Adam's eyes, but if Zyok you are willing to share the information about Ape, I would also be happy to know. Well, calling Zyok this way is too. Listening to this voice, Adam couldn't help but have a picture emerge in his mind. Cat, shy, covering face Jaffe Sibi. I can call you that too. There was one more cat in the vision, and Adam couldn't help but look forward to the life after the two cute creatures were summoned. It seems that animals other than cats, toads and owls are not allowed in Hogwarts. Ahem. The love card is not preserved in the Clow card because love cannot exist alone without people. After a long time, Zyok finally found his voice. Everything in the world will inevitably return to nothingness, and only love can offset the nothingness, Adam said with emotion, and as soon as he finished speaking, he felt a vague sense of power hidden deep in his heart. People can't help but feel peace and joy. That's Can you already sense the love card, Zyok? K's voice was a little anxious and regretful. It's a pity that you don't have enough magic power, otherwise you can take this opportunity to condense the love card. Chapter 5, Diagon Alley. Don't be impatient, Zyok, it's just that the time is not yet ripe. Sooner or later there will be a chance. Adam accepted well that he missed the chance to use the condensed love card. He already roughly knew what it felt like. Moreover, now that he had the condensed love card, he was still not qualified to use it without a card. Then, let's try. Adam, are you still awake? Ms. Lee's voice sounded outside the door. Fortunately, Ms. Lee always respects the privacy of her children and did not open the door directly. It seems like it's okay to come in. After all, Adam had no intention of hiding it from his family, but he hadn't figured out how to explain it yet. "Oh, Mom, I'm going to sleep now." Adam looked at the time and realized that it was indeed time to go to bed. It wouldn't be too late to try Clow Cards or something after returning home from Diagon Alley. I was obviously extremely curious about magic at the beginning, but why am I feeling calm now? Is it too much surprise? Lying in bed, Adam was thinking about what to buy in Diagon Alley tomorrow, how to use the Clow card he just got, and Zioke and Sibby, hi Alice whether it was an illusion or not. Adam seemed to hear a slightly teasing female laugh and a male sigh of helplessness just before he fell into deep sleep. When Adam woke up the next day, he had completely forgotten about the hallucination before going to bed last night. He got up early in the morning and went downstairs according to his biological clock. "Good morning, darling." "Good morning, Grandpa." "Good morning, Grandma." Taking a seat at the dining table, Adam greeted other family members. "Eat something simple. There should be a lot of delicious food on Diagon Alley." Reed Senior said as Emma placed the bacon, fried eggs and mashed potatoes in front of Adam. "Since Diagon Alley is a gathering place for British wizards, I don't have high hopes for this." Picking up the runny omelette with chopsticks, Adam said quietly. Adam's father is obviously also British, but he owns a French restaurant and the business is quite prosperous, which speaks volumes in itself. How to put it? To sum it up in one sentence of Ms. Lee, the food invented by these British people can truly taste the resentment of the ingredients before they die. Wizards and muggles are different. There are many delicious foods in Diagon Alley. For example, Old Reed opened his mouth to refute, but all that came to mind were snacks such as sizzling honey candies and licorice wands, and the memory of the meal was completely blank. Emma in the kitchen silently added a small piece of butter and a few slices of toast to the pot after eating and drinking, and full of expectations, Adam followed Old Reed and Emma through the leaky cauldron to Diagon Alley using the wand to open the way to Diagon Alley. Old Reed said with a smile, "Welcome to the world of magic, kid. In fact, I already experienced the magical world last night, but that's not the point. The point is that neither the novel nor the movie mentions that this trash can is actually in use." Adam, who is a little bit tidy, didn't look good, but he still showed a surprised smile in cooperation after actually entering Diagon Alley. Adam's mood fluctuated at first. He was indeed pleasantly surprised by the magical magic that appeared around him from time to time, but perhaps his expectations were too high. As he gradually got used to it, he was disappointed by the dilapidated smell that hid his face. The real Diagon Alley is not as glamorous as Universal Studios or the movies. The narrow streets are crowded with many wizards coming and going. What you can see everywhere are the stains in the corners that have not been cleaned in countless years. Rubbish, except for a few shops that can be seen to be specially cleaned, and the luxurious gringotts. Most places just seem to be stuck in the last century. I am even worried that a bucket of excrement will be poured from above at some point. After returning home, Adam complained to Mr. Reed and Ms. Lee. "Do they take a shower, Ms.?" Lee swallowed back the draft she had prepared and asked a somewhat subtle question, and Adam's expression made the question even more subtle. "Doesn't that person take a shower after?" Another source of odor passed by. Adam pulled on Old Reed's sleeve and whispered a similar rhetorical question. "Well, you have to know that some older wizards are more traditional. They think bathing will affect their magic power. Of course, most people still like to be clean." Old Reed, who excitedly introduced his grandson, also found that his grandson was not as surprised as he thought, so he led Adam and walked forward quickly. "We must first buy a magic wand. This is your real first step into the magical world." Hearing this, Adam's heart beat a little faster. He already had a wand of darkness. I wonder if it would have an impact on the choice of wand. "Oh, welcome." It seemed that it was because it was still the beginning of the school year. Ollivander was waiting behind the counter dedicatedly. When he looked up, he saw Adam and the Old Reed behind him. Emma had gone to the Tuafin clothing store. Ollivander's wand store was it was too small. Thousands of wand boxes almost filled the shop, and there was no way that many people could enter. 12 inches, dogwood, unicorn tail hair. Ollivander seemed to have the superpower of being able to remember every wand that came from his hand. He looked at Old Reed and sighed with emotion. "Mr. Reed, how long has it been since we last met?" "It has been almost 50 years since we last met, Mr. Ollivander." Old Reed also felt a little emotional, and then patted Adam on the shoulder. "Help my grandson choose a wand that suits him. The ones you make are always the best." "I can't say it's the best, but I guarantee it's the most suitable." Ollivander showed a confident smile on his face and looked at Adam. "So, little Mr. Reed, which is your dominant hand?" "Right hand, sir." Adam hesitated because he was not sure which one he would have in his dominant hand, so when Ollivander took out his ruler he asked, "Can I use my wand with my other hand?" "Oh, are you dominant on both hands?" "Okay." Ollivander nodded and continued to measure Adam's dimensions with his ruler: the length of the fingers, the width of the palm, the length of the arm, even the diameter of the nostrils and the circumference of the head. After a few meaningless operations, Ollivander took a wand and gave it to Adam to try. Adam waved his hand casually, and the sudden strong wind almost blew the roof apart. "No, not this." Ollivander grabbed the wand, took out his own wand and waved the items in the shop to restore them, then hurriedly took out another wand. "Try this." Adam waved the wand a little smaller this time, but the movement caused was not smaller at all. The violent explosion caused the wand box to fly in all directions. Armor protection. The wand boxes stacked high fell down and crashed towards them. Thanks to old Reed's iron armor curse, the three of them survived. Adam took a look, and fortunately the explosion seemed to be just a big noise. Not a single one was damaged, and even the box was not broken, otherwise he might have lost money. Such a huge power is beyond my expectation. Let me think about it. Ollivander took back his wand and started rummaging through the collapsed wand box. "Try this." Boom. "No." "Try this." Crack. "Still not right." Ollivander grabbed the wand again, grabbed his hair that wasn't particularly thick, and plunged it into the wand box. Chapter 6: Mysterious Grandma. Half an hour passed in Ollivander's wand shop. Adam waved the wand mechanically, because the requirement was that both hands could be used, and he would switch to the other hand if he used acid in one hand. He was already numb to the explosions that kept ringing in his ears, which would cause various serious effects 8 out of 10 times. He remembered that one time a bouquet of flowers actually bloomed on the top of the wand. He thought he was right this time, but Ollivander said it was still wrong until a wand came into Adam's hands. As soon as he got it, Adam felt that this wand was different from the previous one. As Adam waved his wand, the surrounding wand boxes trembled and floated one by one, returning to their respective places, and Adam also felt a completely different sense of pleasure than before, as if his body had an extra extension. "That's right. That's it." Ollivander clapped his hands. 16 inches, acacia wood, phoenix tail feathers. "I knew it, you know I dare." Adam almost vomited something sweet, but his good moral cultivation kept him shut, and he just rolled his eyes and politely he seriously suspected that Ollivander actually made every combination of wands and then exhausted them all. Ahem. "The combination of this wand is very special, that's why it takes so long." Ollivander may have realized that the wand selection for more than half an hour just now was a bit unprofessional, but he still struggled to explain. "Both the acacia wood and the phoenix tail feathers are very finicky, not to mention the 16-inch length. The last 16-inch wand I sold belonged to a half-giant." Although Adam suspected that Ollivander was simply quibbling, the joy of choosing his own wand still made him suppress the depression of waiting for half an hour and almost being affected by explosions and lightning several times. He looked carefully at the wand in his hand. The cylindrical black-brown staff has a slender and straight body, with smooth curves and runes engraved on it. The handle is a spindle surrounded by various symbols. Adam glanced at the bottom of the handle. It was actually inlaid with a yellow gem. That gemstone is a yellow tourmaline I bought from a wizard from the east. It matches the overall magic power of the wand very well, at no extra charge." Ollivander spoke at the right moment. Well, for the sake of this gem, Adam's resentment dissipated a lot. So beautiful. After looking at the wand several times, Adam couldn't help but thought to himself, 16-inch wands are considered extra long among wands, but Adam's dark wand is a head taller than others. In comparison, this wand is already small. Adam even thinks this wand is a bit cute. After paying the bill and buying the most important and most uncertain wand, old Reed took Adam into buy model, snacks, crucible, snacks, potion ingredients, snacks, school uniforms, snacks, books, not to mention the various snacks from a stall just a few steps away. Adam lingered in Flourish and Blott's bookstore for a long time. He has not forgotten that the growth of magic is closely related to knowledge, so he also wants to buy and read many books that are not required by Hogwarts. In addition, he is a little curious about things in the wizarding world, especially those that do not appear in the original books and movies part. So Adam signed an order for 2 feet of parchment, and the books would be sent to Hogwarts. where Grandpa said the house elves would take care of them. That's a broomstick. Freshmen are not allowed to bring broomsticks. After speaking, old Reed hesitated, but if you want it, we can buy one first and keep it at home. Still not, Grandpa. I'm not very interested in flying broomsticks. Adam declined what would have been a tempting offer for a child. Do you think Nimbus 2000 is expensive? My grandparents are actually very rich, Mom. And Dad gave me a lot of money. Grandpa, Nimbus 2000 is indeed very expensive, but Mr. Reed and Ms. Lee originally planned for Adam to attend Eton College. The tuition fee for Eton College is more than £40,000 a year for a total of 5 years. The reservation was made, but Adam suddenly had to go to Hogwarts, which had free tuition. Ms. Lee handed over the original tuition fee to Adam with a wave of her hand. Boys can't be poor, otherwise they will have to live a rough life. How can they broaden their horizons? What's more, they are still in a strange environment. I just feel that I can't take it to Hogwarts now anyway. It's not worth buying it right now. Maybe they will release a new model next year. In fact, next year there will be Nimbus 2001, and the year after that there will be Firebolt. The more I think about it, the more it looks like a certain mobile phone, and if Adam wants to fly, there's a flying card in the Clow Card. Let the dark staff grow wings and it will be a broomstick. Let yourself grow wings and you can fly directly. Why spend so much money to buy one that will be destroyed in a year? Better product outweighs the broomstick. A certain second-generation rich man said it well. I am rich but not stupid. I bought the other end from one end of Diagon Alley and picked up Emma from the Tuafin clothing store. Grandma took Adam to buy this end from the other end. Grandma's main consumption target is obviously different from Grandpa. Alan, do you plan to let your precious grandson wear only one school uniform in Hogwarts for a whole semester? Old clothes, pajamas, and a few more dresses. Isn't there a ball at Hogwarts? I can't imagine. No, I still have to buy them, in case I can use them. The one needs to be cared for, otherwise what if it breaks down while casting a spell? Buy a few more sets of care tools. Don't save money on this. You need to prepare a few more pairs of dragon leather gloves. Some potion materials are best handled with separate dragon leather gloves. In addition, if your classmates forget to bring them, you can lend them to build good relationships. Prepare more potion materials, and buy some white fresh essence. Carry a bottle with you. If there's a wound, you can treat it directly. The nurses in the medical wing can't fly directly to Adam. Shut up, Alan. After buying 2 rounds of food on Diagon Alley and using snacks as lunch, Emma looked at the packages in the hands of the 2 people, and then looked at old Reed. Alan, you take these things back first. Adam and I will go shopping again. Old Reed picked up the packages of the 2 people with difficulty. There was a huge bird cage on the top of the package. There was a snowy owl inside. Well, you guys have fun. Will you come back for dinner tonight? Not necessarily, Emma answered quickly, and it was obvious that she would not go back for dinner. Okay, old Reed nodded, and walked away with a gift. Why did Grandpa use magic to carry the luggage? Emma looked at Adam in surprise. Magic is something that requires concentration. It is easy to have accidents while casting spells and doing other things. Don't do this in the future. Is that so? Adam nodded thoughtfully. Is it possible that Grandpa is too weak? After lunch, Emma wiped her mouth and took Adam to a corner where no one was around. Grandma, why are you so mysterious? Hold my hand tightly. Adam held it tightly as he was told, and the next moment he felt like he was in a narrow pipe-like slide. After a period of squeezing, his body finally got out of the pipe and came to a piece of grass. Adam's face turned pale and he felt nauseous. That was apparition, which allows people to quickly move from one place to another. It's not easy to get used to it the first time. Take a few deep breaths. Emma stroked Adam's back, then leaned over and whispered something in Adam's ear. Adam realized that it seemed to be an address. The next moment, in Adam's surprised eyes, a crack seemed to appear on the grass in front of him, and a small house with a garden squeezed out of thin air from the crack. This is an extremely powerful protective magic. Don't rush to ask questions. Come with me. Emma took Adam to the door of the small house and knocked gently. Chapter 17. You have triggered an epic quest. Looking at the wooden door in front of him, Adam swallowed. Let me go. This process, the red bold loyalty curse. Grandma, are you bringing me to meet some amazing person? Squeak. The wooden door was slowly opened, and under Adam's doubtful gaze, a pale face was revealed behind the door, so white that he looked like a dead man, especially since the other person was wearing pure white silk clothes. "Oh, Emma, I'm so glad I got your letter earlier," the man spoke slowly, his eyes full of joy. "At that time, how many years ago was that? You wrote a letter saying that you went to China, and you never contacted us again. This must be Adam." He stretched out his trembling hand and waved. "Quick, come in, don't stand outside." Sitting down on the sofa, Adam swallowed. "Grandma, who is this old man? Why does he look so much like an old friend I saw in the movie?" He was a friend of our family. Grandma's expression was a little complicated, and coupled with these vague words, Adam felt more and more that his guess might be true. "Let me go. Grandma, do you have such strong connections? Emma, come here and chat with me for a while." Suddenly, a woman's voice sounded. Emma looked over and stood up with some surprise. She nodded to Adam and hurried upstairs with her wife. "I hope you like French black tea." At this moment, the old man came over carrying a tray with a pot of black tea and several cups on it. "I'll do it." Adam saw that his hands were shaking and he didn't look like he could do such delicate work as pouring tea, so he wanted to help, but he didn't expect that the other party waved his hand and refused his help. What a good boy. But the magical world is more convenient for the elderly than you think. The teapot suddenly stood up on its own, walked to the teacup, poured a pot of tea, and continued to the next teacup, while the teacup filled with black tea walked to Adam. "I don't know if your grandmother has introduced you to me. My name is Nico Flamel, and your grandmother is the daughter of a friend of mine." There had been speculation before. Adam suppressed the shock in his heart and nodded. "My name is Adam Reed." "Well, that's expected." Nico Flamel smiled humorously and said, "Okay, then, let's get down to business." After the 2 cups of tea were poured, Nico Flamel looked at Adam. "Your grandmother has explained to me in a letter that you have a premonition that something dangerous will happen next at Hogwarts, so you don't want to go to Hogwarts, right?" "Yes, but I'm afraid not. Can you help me?" Adam's eyes lit up. If it was this person, it might really work. Although he has now signed a contract with Clow Card, Adam still doesn't feel that he is safe if he stays in Hogwarts. At most, he only has a little more ability to protect himself. After all, the Clow Card is an ability in shoujo comics, and it doesn't seem to have any particularly outstanding combat skills, but Voldemort's reputation was gained through killing. If it's about transferring schools or something like that, I'm afraid I can't help. The light in Adam's eyes dimmed. "But I can give you this." Nico Flamel took out a button from his pocket. "This is a portkey." "Portkey?" "Yes, a prop made with magic. After being activated with a corresponding magic, you will be teleported directly here." Nico Flamel pointed at his feet. "This is the only way to quickly escape from Hogwarts. At the same time, this house is protected by powerful magic. Apart from the 2 of us here, only my wife, Emma, and Dumbledore can enter. Dumbledore Bleedo is the principal of Hogwarts. You should know that, right?" "Yes, I know." Adam frowned. "But I don't know how to activate the portkey's magic. I don't even know any magic yet. If I could know when you would be in danger, as the maker of the door key, I could set a time when it would be activated. It's a pity that I didn't predict this." Nico Flamel looked into Adam's eyes. "Although I did not predict this, I know that some not good things will indeed happen in Hogwarts next, so if you are really in danger, learn to activate the portkey before then. Magic is the best way." Adam clenched the button in his hand and nodded. "I know. So in which book can I learn this magic?" "It is very dangerous to learn magic directly from books. I have found a teacher for you." Nico Flamel took out a letter and handed it to Adam. "Give this to Dumbledore. He will guide you in learning this magic. I have a good relationship with him. He just happened to owe me a favor recently. Besides that, I also want to ask you to do me a small favor." Nico Flamel stood up, walked to the shelf nearby, picked up a red gem and put it in the bag. In Adam's calm eyes, Nico Flamel handed the bag into Adam's hand. "Give this and that letter to Dumbledore. Hand it to him, will you, Ling? You have triggered an epic quest. Escort a Philosopher's Stone to Hogwarts, during which there is a chance to trigger events such as Death Eater attack and Voldemort's hunt. And the quest reward?" None such a voice seemed to ring in his ears. Even though he had been desperately preparing himself mentally in the past few seconds, Adam couldn't help swallowing his saliva. But, don't you have a good relationship with Dumbledore? Why don't you hand it over to him in person? Or let him come, please. Be considerate of old men like us. It's not easy to go out, Nicholas. Flamel smiled before he could explain why he knew about the Philosopher's Stone. Adam couldn't ask more, of course. It was not easy for Adam to refuse. After all, he shouldn't know about the Philosopher's Stone. Then, when Nicholas Flamel provided him with a portkey and a safe place to live as the destination of the portkey, what reason did he have to refuse a request that he could easily complete from his perspective? Okay, I will definitely hand it over to Headmaster Dumbledore in person. What is this, Adam? Couldn't help asking. I thought you would hold back your curiosity. This is a Philosopher's Stone. The original name of the Philosopher's Stone is Philosopher's Stone, which should be translated as Philosopher's Stone or Sage's Stone. However, Nicholas Flamel used a magical stone at this time, and he obviously didn't intend to let Adam know too much. It's broken. It looks more real, but shouldn't this thing be in Gringotts, taken away by Hagrid and brought to Dumbledore? How could he let a child? Wait, Adam fell into thinking about which one is more reliable, a child or Hagrid, until he returned home with the Philosopher's Stone. Adam couldn't believe that he was carrying a stone that could make people immortal and turn into gold. Adam, you're back. It's diagonally fun, eh? After dinner, they returned to the room on the second floor. Zio-K and SPI in the sealed book couldn't wait to quarrel. Suddenly, Zio-K seemed to have noticed something and said, I feel the breath of a lot of magic power, eh? Lot of magic power. This, Adam touched his pocket and took out a bag containing the Philosopher's Stone. That's right. Such a large amount of ownerless magic power is the Philosopher's Stone. Adam, where did you get it from? Zio-K actually knows the Philosopher's Stone. Yes, Zio-K is the sealed beast representing the sun and Western magic. With the experience of Colorado, the great magician, maybe he has really seen the Philosopher's Stone. Adam remembered that this person can even travel between parallel worlds. It's a pity. Zio-K, this is something someone asked me to pass on to another person. Don't think crookedly, especially when these two people are so fierce. No one really thinks that Nicholas Flamel, an old man who has been guarding the Philosopher's Stone for more than 600 years, has poor combat effectiveness, right? Well, but with the Philosopher's Stone we can condense our bodies and move freely, and we can also use GAN cards. I really want to eat cake. Zio-K's voice was full of reluctance, and it seemed that he was biting something. Idiot, don't you have a double card over there? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: Copy in Pairs. The second method. Day by day, apart from your GAN cards and my bubble cards, do you take the Clow cards we manage seriously? Sibby's scolding was accompanied by a crackling sound and a painful cry of ouch, ouch. It sounded like Sibby had delivered a meow punch to Zio-K. I really want to see it, but the key is not this, but what Sibby just said. Double card. The image of this Clow card came to Adam's mind. A pair of twin children wearing clown-like costumes. The images of Clow cards can be roughly divided into 4 types. Character images, characters holding elements representing card abilities, animal images with card ability characteristics, and objects themselves with card abilities among them. The Clow cards with character designs are basically all about a single person, and the double card is the only Clow card with 2 people on it. The effect of double cards is also very special. It can make 2 identical copies of an object or person. If the magic is not removed for a day, the copied people or things will continue to exist. But can double cards actually copy the magic stone? Even if he could, his magic power wouldn't be enough to create a magic stone, right? But with my magic power, it's impossible to copy a magic stone, right? Adam asked the question truthfully. The magic of double cards is not copying. The sound of meow meow fist stopped, and Sibby's voice sounded. Adam, do you know about parallel time and space? Adam, if the process of a world is compared to a line that keeps moving forward, then when any possibility of change appears, this line will diverge in every possible direction, forming parallel time and space. Even the trajectory of a grain of dust blown in the wind will generate countless parallel time and spaces. but most of the time these possibilities cannot trigger enough differences to stabilize these parallel time and spaces in a short period of time, so these parallel time and space will converge and merge into a line again after a period of time. Sometimes some people will have different perceptions of the same thing, which is the result of the overlapping of memories after parallel time and space. The magic of double cards is not to copy one thing into two, but to transfer the thing in the parallel space and time that will be converged to this time and space. After the original time and space of this thing is converged, this magic cannot be undone. The Philosopher's Stone is a powerful collection of magic power, but it does not have the uniqueness of parallel time and space. You can copy the magic stone from parallel time and space with 2 cards Adam, not. To mention the magical explanation of the Mandela effect, Siby's explanation of the double card ability really subverted Adam's understanding of this Clow card, or the concept of Clow card. I thought it was a double copy, but it turned out to be the second method. Speaking of which, the setting of the Clow card seems to have always been very advanced, but the stereotype hindered Adam's understanding. The production of Clow cards combines many elements such as the power of nature, playing cards, tarot cards, the 4 elements of alchemy, the 12 constellations, the Bagua and the 5 elements. Its setting can be regarded as a culmination of Eastern and Western mysticism. The producer, Kuro Rido, is a great magician who can freely travel to parallel worlds. The thought of Yuko's resurrection can stop time and space, and he can live young for hundreds of years by his own power. It's just that the producer, Kuro Rido, seems to have never used Clow cards in battle, and his successor, Sakura, as the protagonist of a shoujo manga, basically uses Clow cards to save people and rarely shows the power of Clow cards. Various factors led to the fact that even if Adam signed a contract with a book of sealing, it was out of the idea that it's always good to have more power instead of thinking about how powerful the Clow card was. Don't limit your knowledge and imagination, Adam. Seemingly discovering Adam's thoughts, Siby's voice sounded again. Magic is a mirror that projects the mind, will and soul with magic. Magic can only determine the intensity of magic. What truly makes magic ever-changing and omnipotent is your heart, not only do you want to explore the principles of the Clow cards that you don't understand, but you can also modify them according to your own ideas after fully understanding the Clow cards themselves. Thank you, Siby. I understand. Adam suddenly understood. In the past, his knowledge was too narrow and he did not even have an in-depth understanding of the Clow card. Now it seems that the development potential of the Clow card is far beyond his imagination. Just a double card has the potential to develop a second method, but what about other cards? The development of the Clow card can be studied slowly later, but the top priority is indeed the key that hides the dark power, summoning the Staff of Darkness. Adam paused and looked at the sealed book. Siby, can this spell be changed? Although darkness itself has no attributes of justice or evil, it can easily cause misunderstandings by others. No. This is part of the contract, but although the spell cannot be changed, you can directly abandon the spell when the magic power is sufficient. This time it was Zayok who spoke. That would be great. The sealed book automatically opened in the air and turned to the page of the double card. The seal is lifted. The spikes symbolizing sunshine were placed on the double card, and the twin elves in clown costumes on the card surface immediately broke free from the seal, jumped out of the card and fell to the ground. The twin elves were almost identical, except for their pink and blue hair. When they bowed to Adam, one used his left hand and the other used his right hand, looking like a mirror. Can't you talk? It was the first time for Adam to summon the elves in the Clow cards. He looked at the twin elves in front of him, who were almost as tall as him, with curiosity. Only a few of the Clow cards can talk. After all, Clow is a quiet person, Zio K explained. I see. Then please conjure up the second magic stone. Adam handed the magic stone to the double card. The double card came in front of the magic stone. A white light flashed, and the 2 magic stones lay quietly in Adam's palm. Although SPI had said it was feasible, the fact that the double card really conjured up the second magic stone still made Adam gasp. Can you make more? Double card looked at Adam and nodded. Golden light flashed in Adam's eyes. Adam, it's not a good idea to copy too many Philosopher's Stones. There is no essential difference between 2 Philosopher's Stones and one, and once exposed, it will easily cause trouble. You can't use the Clow cards too many times in one day now. SPI's voice sounded. Don't I already have a philosopher's stone, Adam? Put one of the philosopher's stones back into the bag given by Nicholas Flamel, holding the other one in his hand and said, can't the magic of the philosopher's stone be used to use the Clow Cards? Unfortunately, no, Zio. K also came out to pour cold water. The contract of the sealed book prevents anyone and any magic from using the Clow Cards except you, but if you learn the magic in double cards and cast it yourself, you can use the magic in the philosopher's stone, eh? Then I copy the philosopher's stone. Well, it's also useful for turning stones into gold and making elixirs of immortality, Adam sighed. Chapter 9 Differences between wizards and mages in casting spells. Don't be disappointed, Adam. Although you can't use the Clow card, the magic power of the philosopher's stone allows you to carry the sealed book and sealed staff with you. Zio, who had successfully acquired a body, rolled on the ground, stretched out his paws on his belly and comforted Adam. Let me teach you the magic of putting away the book of sealing and the staff of sealing. This way you can summon the Clow card and use it at any time. After the explanation, Zio squatted on the ground and sorted out the feathers on his wings that were a little messy from rolling. This magic is a type of sealing magic, and the difficulty is not low. However, the book of sealing, the staff of sealing, and your magic contract can make it easier to use this magic on them. Before you start school, you must, before he finished speaking, Zio saw a complex magic circle flashing in Adam's right hand, and at the same time the sealing staff disappeared from Adam's hand. Not long after, he saw a similar magic circle flash across Adam's left hand, successfully putting away the sealed book, and Zio fell completely silent. It seems that your magic talent is very high. Lying on the bed, Sibby looked like an elegant black panther, with a pair of butterfly wings flapping gently behind her. If that's the case, you can quickly learn all the magic in the Clow cards. I will try my best, Adam repeated the movements of calling out and putting away several times, and after getting familiar with the process, he suddenly had an idea. Can I put my wand away? A 16-inch wand may be a little inconvenient to hold. If it could be stored away using this kind of magic, it should be possible. I'm not sure. Sibby closed the book in front of him, pushed off the bed and hit Zio on the head. I looked through your textbook and found that this magic system is a bit strange. Of course, it could also be that I'm not familiar enough with Western magic. Ouch. Zio bared his teeth at Sibby, opened Adam's textbook and said, then let me take a look at how much this little first-grade textbook can do. Huh? The vertical lines in Zio's pupils turned into circles, and he turned a few more pages without giving up. No. What is this? Is it really magic? Where is the magic circle? Where is the principle of magic? After reading the entire standard spells, elementary, Zio had to admit that he seemed to have encountered a blind spot. You can cast a spell by drawing a certain arc with your wand and adding a spell. This is not magic at all. Zio looked at the standard spells, elementary, in shock, as if he was looking at some heresy. Isn't this magic? It looks quite magical to me. Adam, who successfully put away his wand, took the book and wanted to give it a try. He remembered that Hermione had learned how to repair it at home, and Spy said that since he had good magic talent, he should be able to learn a few spells. Magic looks magical, but in fact it is very rigorous. Sometimes the magician seems to just wave his hand, but in fact he performs very complex operations on the magic to complete the spell. Sibby had 3 books in his hands, namely Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration, Intermediate Transfiguration and Advanced Transfiguration Guide. He turned each of the 3 books to one page and showed it to Adam with his furry fingers. The 3 types of magic, transforming objects, disappearing spells, and permanent transformation, belong to completely different magic fields. The former is transformation magic, the second is space magic, and the last one should strictly speaking belong to the category of alchemy. Sustainable magic is impossible. It will still be maintained after the death of the caster, unless there is another source of magic power. Sibby raised his head and looked at Adam seriously. Whether it's the classification or the performance of magic, it's like a group of people who don't know magic at all. They saw that the magician could cast a spell by waving a wand and chanting a spell, so they recorded the process and thought that they could cast a spell by following it. Likewise, the classification is also taken for granted. The most important thing is that we are looking at the textbook, which means that the complete process of casting spells should be explained in the book, but I can't find any trace of the magic circle at all. Putting aside the magic circle, it will be taught separately after enrollment. With this possibility, I have reason to suspect that this is no longer the world we originally lived in. At first, Adam looked serious and his heart was lifted. But at the end, Adam suddenly realized, yes, this is not your hometown at all. Maybe you have really fallen into another world, Adam murmured the question. The wizard's spellcasting ability comes from the intermarriage between ancestors and magical animals, rather than from his own research. This is probably why the spellcasting and classification of these magics are so primitive. Moreover, it seems that only a very small number of wizards can study magic. Most people's contact with magic throughout their lives only stays at the stage of learning and using it, and the invention of magic spells is mostly accidental. Thinking about this, Adam felt that this speculation might be wrong and he was right. After all, the magic of the Clow card can also be cast in this world, which shows that the ability to cast spells with a magic circle is also applicable to this world. In comparison, the wizard's spellcasting method is indeed more like a wild way. Do you actually have such a background? But it makes sense unexpectedly. Having the ability to cast spells derived from blood instincts may indeed not require such a high level of understanding of the principles of magic, but it sounds so perverted. Sibi expressed shock, and even a little fear, because they seem to be considered magical animals according to this world's classification. What? We are not on the original world anymore. Zio K covered her face and exclaimed, her golden hair exploded. Then, my cake is. Adam, do you have a cake here? Yes, Adam nodded, and there are many other sweets. Oh, by the way, the magic world here has unique sweets. Speaking of this, Adam stuffed a sizzling honey candy into Zio K. Zio K Bang turned into a small energy-saving mode, holding a candy that was almost as big as his head and licked it. Wow, such a special honey taste. I've never eaten it before. This world is great. It's probably made from the honey of some magical plant. Adam also stuffed one into SPI, who initially expressed rejection but soon became smaller and started eating it, and fell into a state similar to a cat taking catnip. Rolling left and right on the bed looking at the two cute creatures, Adam crossed his legs and lifted them up and put them in his knees, then picked up a copy of Standard Spells, Elementary, and started reading it. Let's set a small goal first. Learn to restore it to its original state before school starts. There's nothing wrong with the wizard's ability to cast spells from his bloodline. At least it's much simpler than casting spells with magic circles, and there's no need to figure out the principles first. Use the magic of this world, and then figure out the principles bit by bit. It's perfect. Touching Zio's head and wings, pinching SPI's pads and tail, Adam's attention slowly immersed in the ocean of knowledge. Chapter 10. He is just a little badger passing by. September 1st, 1991, King's Cross Station. Remember to pay attention to safety on the road. Remember to write to Grandpa. Handing the luggage to Adam. Mr. and Mrs. Reed watched Adam board the Hogwarts Express. I understand. Goodbye, Grandma and Grandpa. After waving goodbye to his grandparents, Adam patted the suitcase, picked up the light luggage and walked along the aisle, passing through two cars before finding an unoccupied compartment. Phew. I'm almost suffocating. As soon as Adam put away his luggage and sat down, Zio's head came out of his pocket. Thank you for your hard work, Zio. Sibi. Adam lifted Zio up and held him in his arms. He scratched Zio's chin with his index finger. Zio suddenly narrowed his eyes after he taught himself a few magic spells that he knew how to pronounce. He didn't dare to learn them randomly anymore, fearing that he would make a mistake in a syllable and summon a cow, so he started to learn the magic in the Clow card. After all, he has the magic stone, and he can cast any magic he has learned regardless of consumption. Now Zio and CB have been imbued with the magic they learned from the magic card and harmony card. In the eyes of others, Zio and CB are just two kittens, and when they hear them talking, they all say meow. The cry, I really can't believe that wizards actually have to take the train to go to school. Sibi climbed out of Adam's other pocket, flapped his wings and flew to the table, walked to the window and looked out at the students and parents who were saying goodbye. Well, Zio, I still want to confirm, can the magic of the shield really resist the sorting hat? Don't worry, Adam, the shield is a protective magic, including the physical level and the spiritual level. With Adam rubbing the base of his wings, Zio shook his wings. If you want to penetrate the protection of the shield, unless the caster's heart is shaken or the attacker has magic power that far exceeds the caster, The shield's protection is indestructible. Adam breathed a sigh of relief. He only just remembered the sorting hat. There are too many things in his mind that are not convenient for people to know. Although this Godric Gryffindor hat should not use legitimacy on students. Come to the branch hospital, but what if something happens? After the final confirmation, Adam relaxed, took out a book from his backpack and started reading. After Adam was immersed in the book for an unknown amount of time, the door of the cubicle suddenly opened. "Hello, can I sit here?" Of course, there is no one here. Adam, who looked away from the book, was speechless when he saw the person coming. "Isn't this Hermione? Speaking of which, it actually looks the same as in the movie, so the plot is also based on the movie. Although there is not much difference between the novel and the movie, there are still some differences, especially in certain works." Hermione didn't realize that the other party was distracted. After getting a positive reply, she moved her luggage in, then sat down on the seat in front of Adam and let out a long breath. The school should really do a good job of guarding and guiding people outside platform 9 3/4. Although I found a location before, I never knew how to get in. If I hadn't seen a few people crash into the wall. As she said that, Hermione saw the book in Adam's hand and her eyes lit up. "Oh, are you a senior? Are you reading this year's textbook?" "I'm a first-year student. I've read all this year's textbooks but I don't seem to have seen this book." "Well, I might disappoint you. I'm also a first-year student." Adam held the book up in his hands so that Hermione could see the cover. 100 household charms you must master. "What is this?" "Some magic spells that are used in daily life such as cleaning and repairing." "Like a repair spell?" "I saw it in standard spells, elementary and tried it with a glass at home," Hermione said, looking around as if looking for something to try her hand at. "The repair spell is indeed a universal spell, but sometimes the repair spell needs to be adjusted for some special situations." Adam turned the book towards Hermione and pointed out one of the items, like floors corroded by potions, etc. "Other than that, cleaning them up is a general cleaning magic, but when you want to clean things like gowns, you often need some more delicate methods." "Wow. I never considered these situations." Hermione's eyes lit up. "Wait a minute, what's the name of this book?" 100 household spells you must master. "Okay, I remember it. I really missed a lot of things in this way. There are so many books in Flourishes and Blott's bookstore. I shouldn't be satisfied just buying the textbooks I need to use." Hermione looked annoyed and wanted to rush to Flourish and Blott's bookstore right now. "Oh, by the way, when I was getting on the bus, I heard a freshman asking about the sorting ceremony or something. Do you know what that is?" Adam was about to answer, but suddenly remembered something. "I'm not very sure. It seems that parents and seniors have maintained a quite tacit understanding on this matter." He had no intention of hiding it from others. The main reason was that if he told Hermione about the sorting hat, he would have to introduce the characteristics of the 4 houses. If Hermione had been informed about Ravenclaw in advance, there is no way this top student would have gone to Ravenclaw after all. Even if the sorting hat saw Hermione's courage, if Hermione subjectively wanted to go to Ravenclaw, the sorting hat should still follow the student's wishes. If Hermione also had the characteristics of Ravenclaw, then wouldn't the trio be missing one person? Although Harry Potter is jokingly called Hermione and her 2 useless men by some fans, in fact, each person in the trio is very important. Without any one of them, Voldemort may not be defeated in the end. Oh no, the prophecy in this world should be the kind of prophecy that will come true once it is made under the Western magic concept. Voldemort should still die in the hands of Harry or Neville, but this process has become too uncontrollable for Adam, who knows the plot before he grows up. It is better not to get involved in the troubles of the Savior too much, so as not to get burned thinking of this. Adam casually responded to Hermione for a few words, and obviously focused on the book in his hand. After Hermione found this, she also sympathetically did not disturb Adam again. After a while, the door of the compartment was suddenly knocked, and a little boy with a sad face appeared after the door was opened. Excuse me, have you seen my life? That is, a toad. I can't find it, it." Hermione, who was helpful and a little bored, immediately walked out of the compartment to help Neville find the toad. As for Adam, he quietly closed the door of the compartment. After the 2 left, he was just a little badger passing by. Savior, Voldemort, etc. Badger doesn't know Chapter 11, Entrance Ceremony. Adam thought he would be able to enjoy the privacy of being alone all the way to Hogwarts. Who knew that when he started to see how to use magic to control the fire, the door was opened again, and Hermione leaned against the doorframe panting, looking at him awkwardly. "I just forgot to introduce myself. My name is Hermione Granger. My name is Adam Reed. Nice to meet you." After introducing himself abruptly, Adam blinked. "So, the toad was found." "Oh. Not yet, I'm still looking." Hermione slapped her forehead. She just introduced herself while chatting with the two boys, and suddenly remembered that she forgot to introduce herself to Adam, which was so rude. "I'm going to go find the toad. You can continue reading." Without saying a word, Hermione hurriedly left again. "Isn't this the same direction she was looking for just now?" Zio K raised his head. "Maybe. I haven't finished looking yet. Do you want to eat macarons?" Adam took their lunch out of his satchel. When the sun was completely swallowed by the horizon, the Hogwarts Express slowly arrived at its destination. Students do not need to carry their luggage with them. House elves will help them deliver it to their dormitories. They only need to change into their school uniforms in the car. "Freshmen, all first years, come to me." As soon as they got off the train, Hagrid's penetrating voice reached Adam's ears. The half-giant held up his lantern to attract the attention of the new students around him. After counting the number of students one by one, and finally confirming that all the new students were present, Hagrid led the new students on the admission journey that every new student at Hogwarts must experience. "I heard that this is a Hogwarts tradition. We will rewalk how the founders discovered Hogwarts." A new student whispered to the people around him, which immediately caused other freshmen to exclaim, "Get on the boat this way." On the pier by the Black Lake, Hagrid greeted the new students to board the boat in groups of 4 to cross the river. "A boat can carry 4 people." Hagrid pulled away a freshman who was about to try out what would happen with the 5th person. Adam walked forward with the crowd, and suddenly a hand stretched out from the side and pulled him. "Ah, you are here. Come on, there are just 4 of us." It turned out to be Hermione. Before Adam could say anything, he was pulled onto the boat. On the boat, there was a boy with red hair and freckles, and a boy with round glasses smiling at him. "Hello." Adam smiled awkwardly but politely. "Hello, my name is Ron Weasley and this is Harry Potter." "My name is Adam Reed." "Hey, don't you know Harry Potter?" Ron was very surprised to see Adam's calm expression. "Of course I do. I also know that he will marry your sister in the future." "Sorry, my parents are not wizards." "So, are you a celebrity in the wizarding world?" Adam looked at Harry apologetically, and Harry quickly grabbed Ron and Hermione who were about to explain. "No, it's nothing. I just found out that I am a wizard not long ago." "Look down." At this moment, Hagrid's voice came from far away. Ron, Harry and Hermione all bowed their heads obediently, but nothing happened. "I think he was just talking to himself." Adam pointed at Hagrid, and the 3 of them turned to look over and saw Hagrid lowering his head to avoid the vines hanging down from the bridge, but that was because of his height. The 3 people who raised their heads blushed a little, but fortunately it was dark and they couldn't see clearly thanks to this moment of embarrassment. None of the 3 spoke again, and Adam turned his head to look at the illuminated castle in the distance. Although he had been reluctant to come to Hogwarts before, Adam still felt a little excited when he really saw the Hogwarts standing on the high ground, as figures that he had not yet seen but were already very familiar with seemed to flash before his eyes. "Sorry, Grandma. I also think Hogwarts is the best wizarding school in the world." The boat finally stopped at the pier next to Hogwarts. The freshmen got off the boat one by one and followed Hagrid through the winding path to Hogwarts Castle. The gates of the castle were bigger than Adam imagined. Hagrid raised his hand as big as a cattail leaf and patted the door a few times. Soon the door was opened, revealing a figure wearing a dark green robe. Professor McGonagall, who turns into a cat. Adam, who is actually a plush man, remained calm, but he couldn't help but scream in surprise, and at the same time, the hands under his sleeves began to move. If he remembered correctly, Professor McGonagall's animagus was a tabby cat with square eye-frame patterns around its eyes. Professor McGonagall didn't know that one of the freshmen in front of her was fantasizing about something treacherous. She glanced at a number of freshmen and nodded to Hagrid. "Thank you for your hard work, Hagrid. Leave the rest to me." Letting Hagrid pass first, Professor McGonagall took the freshman through another path to the foyer in front of the auditorium. "Welcome to Hogwarts, children. You will walk through this door later and enjoy dinner with your classmates. But before that, you must first go through the sorting ceremony and decide which house you will enter." Academy. After the words fell, The students who were looking forward to the branch immediately looked at each other. Are you going to face a dragon, troll, banshee, vampire next? Seeing the eyes of the freshmen, Professor McGonagall knew what they were thinking. After all, she had gone through the same thing. After coughing a little harder, Professor McGonagall attracted the attention of the freshmen again. After everyone calmed down, she continued to read the instructions. Yes, she did not tell the freshmen the specific procedures of the next sorting ceremony. The sorting ceremony will begin in a few minutes. I suggest you take care of yourself while waiting. You will be sorted in front of the whole school. After leaving this sentence, Professor McGonagall turned and left. It's over. I'm not ready yet. A freshman covered his head in pain. How on earth am I supposed to hold out for 3 minutes in front of a giant dragon? What? Isn't it to find the treasure of the mermaid in the Black Lake? Another freshman took out a bottle from his pocket in a daze. I also brought some chinweed on purpose, but my mother said, my father, my brother, what is that? With an exclamation that overwhelmed other voices, the freshmen turned their heads and looked. A group of pale ghosts flew through the air, whispering to each other, and then disappeared through the wall. Is the sorting ceremony different every year, and this year, it's to deal with ghosts? Adam touched his chin and expressed his opinion after the voice fell. The hallway was quiet for a few seconds, and then the sound of swallowing saliva was heard. The whole hall seemed to have taken away a lot of heat because of the ghosts passing by. Some freshmen turned pale, and some freshmen trembled slightly. Everything is ready now. Line up in a single file and follow me. Professor McGonagall's return has reinjected a wave of heat into the entrance hall. She looked at the freshmen with some doubts, and finally guessed that one of the freshmen's parents might have joked too much and scared the others through the door of the auditorium and along the aisle between the 4 long tables. Adam quickly looked at the dishes on both sides: roast beef, grilled sausages, grilled pumpkin, grilled potatoes, steak, lamb chops, grilled chicken, bread, French fries, Cornish pasties, Yorkshire puddings. Adam, who has many restaurants at home, glanced at them, and the names and methods of each dish naturally emerged in his mind. Well, at least it looks good. There is no dish like looking up at the stars, but I don't know how it tastes. I hope the cooking skills of the house elves will not disappoint him. Chapter 12, Hufflepuff, the Hidden Dragon. After the magic sound of the Sorting Hat's appearance hit his ears, Professor McGonagall took a piece of parchment and walked to the Sorting Hat's high stool. Next, when I call your name, come here, put on your hat, sit on the stool, and the Sorting Hat will assign houses to you. Hannah Abbott, starting from the future owner of the Leaky Cauldron. One by one the future pillars of the British wizarding world stepped forward and were assigned to their respective colleges, and the gears of fate began to turn. The future Minister of Magic, the future Auror, the future Noble, the future Herbology Professor, Adam Reed. Adam came to his senses when his name was called, walked forward, picked up the Sorting Hat, put it on, and then sat on the stool. A natural occlumency, Master? This is the first time I've seen. The Sorting Hat muttered. Because of the protective magic, it couldn't even converse with Adam in consciousness and could only speak in a low voice. Occlumency? What is that? Adam asked equally quietly. It's a long story to explain. Although I don't mind answering questions for freshmen, I'm afraid the professors won't be willing to give me this time. Ahem, I can only say that I may not be able to give you a good answer. Suggestions. Under the gaze of Professor McGonagall, the Sorting Hat cleared its throat. So, which house do you want to go to? Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, Slytherin. Pick the one you like. Hufflepuff, Adam answered decisively. I love food, I love flowers and plants, I love magical animals, and I love Hufflepuff. Okay. Now that you've made your choice, Hufflepuff is the house with the largest number of students, and every new student from Hufflepuff will receive the warmest applause from the audience. Adam came to the Hufflepuff table amid applause and sat down next to the previous freshman. Welcome to Hufflepuff. The classmates around him greeted him enthusiastically, and he responded one by one. Hufflepuff does not have the ambition of Slytherin, the drive of Gryffindor, and the shrewdness of Ravenclaw, but it is the most warm and friendly house. They do what they have to do, are true to nature, and are honest and enthusiastic. When you make friends with Hufflepuff, you basically don't have to worry about the other party stabbing you secretly. Hufflepuff, which has the largest number of people among the 4 houses and the fewest dark wizards, deserves your trust. After Dumbledore's speech, the dinner party began. Adam took a sip of pumpkin juice and forked a grilled sausage, and the shell is grilled to a crispy texture, the meat inside is tender and juicy, and the seasoning is also great. Black pepper, rosemary and lemon juice just temper the greasy taste of the pure meat, apart from the fact that although the meat itself has been marinated, it still has a bit of fishy smell and has not been cleaned. Adam's evaluation is that it can be used as a signature dish in the restaurant. Adam tasted the food and listened to the chatter of the people around him. My parents are ordinary people. When they first received the letter, they were very angry and thought it was a prank. My parents are both Hufflepuffs, and I wrote to them in the evening to tell them the good news. Wow, this Yorkshire pudding tastes so good. Catching the key words, Adam looked at the Yorkshire pudding on the table, took one and took a sip. Vomit. Adam put down the Yorkshire pudding with his eyes wide open and took a sip of pumpkin juice to smooth it down. The Yorkshire pudding soaked up the juices of the roast beef. Not only had the aroma of bread and butter, but also had a strong fishy smell. He just seemed to have seen a dead cow pole dancing on the bridge. Why? Obviously the grilled sausage just tasted normal. Putting the remaining half of Yorkshire pudding on the plate, Adam glanced at the classmate who said the Yorkshire pudding was delicious with complicated eyes. Poor child, his sense of taste has been destroyed. At this moment, the classmate opposite Adam covered his mouth and let out a muffled groan. He silently put the thing in his hand aside and took a closer look. It was the Yorkshire pudding that had been bitten. Adam and he looked at each other. Hello, could you please recommend some dishes that you think taste normal? The other person's tone was pitiful, and his English had an accent that Adam couldn't distinguish. Adam looked down at his plate. Yorkshire pudding, beef stew, roast beef, roast lamb chops. Good guy. This unlucky kid has stepped on all the traps he could. If you like meat, this grilled sausage tastes okay, and the chicken drumsticks should taste good. Well, it's really good, but it's a bit woody. Adam took a bite of the chicken leg and commented, in short, stay away from all uncured meat products, thanks. The other party took a bite of the sausage without cutting it, almost crying. It looks funny and pitiful. The French fries also taste good. You can try them. If you are too tired of them, you can drink some pumpkin juice. Yak, yak, yak. After staring at the sausage and eating it for a while, he drank a whole glass of pumpkin juice, and then he raised his head and looked at Adam. Thank you, what's your name? Although every new student's name was read out when they were first sorted, it was obvious that no one would remember the names of other students when they were so excited. Adam. Read, just call me Adam. Adam, I will remember it. The other party nodded. What about you? What's your name? Uther. Ramses. Ramses, this special surname made Adam look sideways. What? Is it the Ramses of Pharaoh Ramses II? A classmate beside him asked a question in Adam's mind. Yes, that's right, but that was many, many years ago. There are no pharaohs now. Uther shrugged. They were almost done eating, so Adam decided to join the discussion. Then you should be studying in the magic school in Egypt. Why did you come to Hogwarts? Well, I actually found out that I was going to study in the UK after I received a letter from Hogwarts. My mother said it might be because I was born in the UK. She is a magical zoologist and met my father when she was studying the Sphinx in Egypt. Sphinx. It sounds so magical. The freshman who said that his parents were ordinary people sighed. My parents are more ordinary. They met in court. They are the lawyers representing the plaintiff and the defendant. Lawyers. It may be much easier to run a restaurant after building a good relationship. My parents met at the dragon farm. They are colleagues. My parents also met at work. My father transferred from the Department of Magical Accidents and Disasters to become an Auror in order to pursue my mother. My parents met at Hogwarts, and they hope that I can find my other half during school. Hiss. I didn't expect that Hufflepuff is so talented. Hufflepuff friendship is trustworthy, and building a good relationship now may come in handy in the future. With this in mind, Adam also joined the discussion. My parents are also ordinary people, and my family runs a restaurant. Oh, really? I thought only my parents were ordinary people. The freshman's eyes lit up and he took the initiative to extend his hand. My name is Bernard Lancelot. I just heard you say your name is Adam. Yes, welcome you and your family to a restaurant. I'll treat you. Adam reported the names of Mr. Reed and Ms. Lee's restaurant and wine shop. So, that's yours? There's one not far from my house. I like your red wine stewed beef. It doesn't have any fishy smell. Bernard's eyes widened. He thought Adam's family only opened a husband and wife restaurant, but he didn't expect it to be the two-story French restaurant near his home. "Adam, can we go to your restaurant too?" The other little wizards around couldn't help but be moved. They didn't have any idea about Adam's restaurant, but they heard about the stewed beef without fishy smell. They are just used to it. It doesn't mean they like the fishy smell of beef. Of course, everyone can come, but if you are a student who has always lived in the wizarding world, it is best to eat in the box, otherwise some special living habits and terms may attract the attention of ordinary people. No problem. When it comes to passion for food, Hufflepuff is absolutely serious. Chapter 13 Hufflepuff Common Room. By the time the dinner was over, Adam had gotten to know all the freshmen this year and several seniors sitting nearby. Should I say that liking food is a common trait among Hufflepuffs? I feel like I can open a chain of French restaurants and Chinese restaurants in the wizarding world in the future. The food disappeared from the table, and Professor Dumbledore stood up and said to everyone, "At the beginning of the new semester, I have to remind everyone of the following. First-year students, please note that the forest behind the school is off-limits to any students. Some senior students would do well to keep this in mind." Professor Dumbledore glanced at the Gryffindor table. "Our administrator, Mr. Filch, has asked me to remind everyone not to cast spells in the corridors between classes. The review of Quidditch players will be carried out in the second week of this semester. Students who are interested in participating in the college varsity team should contact Ms. Contact." Having said this, Professor Dumbledore paused and emphasized his tone. "Finally, I must tell everyone, don't go near the corridor on the right-hand side of the 4th floor of the library, if you don't want to bleed from your orifices and die in pain." After the words fell, the auditorium was quiet for a few seconds. The freshmen looked at each other, and the old students also frowned and thought about this extra precaution than in previous years. "Okay, that's all I have to say. Finally, let's sing the school song together. Everyone can choose the tune they like." After a hodgepodge of school songs, Professor Dumbledore asked the prefects to take the students back to their dormitories. The four teams separated at the stairs after leaving the Great Hall, Ravenclaw and Gryffindor going up, Hufflepuff and Slytherin going down. The advantage of the dormitory being underground is that our stairs don't run around on their own, and even if there's a storm, we can enjoy a quiet and comfortable sleep in the dormitory. A senior who Adam just met at the dinner introduced him. "Besides, although our dormitory and Slytherin's are both underground, our dormitory is much warmer. Besides, this is it." The Hufflepuff team stopped in front of a huge oil painting with a fruit plate. Prefect Bruce turned around and looked at everyone. "Ahead is the Hufflepuff common room and dormitory, but please allow me to stop here and introduce it to you. In front of you is the Hogwarts kitchen. Yes, it is right next to our dormitory." Facing the excited whispers from the freshmen, Bruce smiled and walked to the oil painting. "Look, just reach out and scratch this pear." The pear seemed to be tickled, and after a while of shaking, it turned into a green doorknob. "It will turn into a door handle, and you can pull it open to enter the kitchen. I believe that some people's stomachs always growl in the dead of night, just like me." Touching his belly, Bruce sighed. "When the weather gets cooler at night, who can resist a hot glass of pumpkin juice paired with a big plate of grilled sausages? Come on, you're going to want ice-cold butterbeer and chips in the summer." A senior who looked very familiar with it, Bruce complained, causing a burst of laughter from the little badgers. "Oh, Vivian, don't put me down at this time, but you have to admit that they go well with the hot summer days, don't you?" Bruce shrugged, seemingly not caring about the senior's teasing. "And there's butterbeer in school." Adam looked at the senior who had introduced him before. "There isn't one in school, but there is one in Hogsmeade. You can go to Hogsmeade after your 3rd year. Then you can buy butterbeer and entrust the house elves in the kitchen to keep it safe for you." The senior explained, "They'll be happy if you'll leave the barrel with them when you're done." After introducing the kitchen, the team continued forward. There was a pile of huge oak barrels not far to the right of the kitchen entrance, where the entrance to the Hufflepuff lounge was. Remember how to enter the door. Tap the bottom lids of the 2 large barrels in the middle of the second row to the rhythm of Helga Hufflepuff, and the lids will automatically rotate open," Bruce said while demonstrating for the new students. "Don't knock it wrong, otherwise you will be doused with jealousy. In addition, although we do not exclude students from other colleges, please keep the method of entering the lounge confidential. I think everyone needs some relatively private space." Right, while they were talking, the lid of the oak barrel had been opened. Adam and the others walked along the passage and entered the Hufflepuff common room, a round, low-ceilinged room with a faint earthy fragrance, the yellow of earth. Copper and the green of plants make up the main colors of the Hufflepuff common room. There is a circle of round windows very close to the ceiling, and a warm fire is burning in the fireplace. Above the fireplace, there was a large picture frame decorated with several dancing badgers. In the picture frame, Ms. Helga Hufflepuff saw the students entering, smiled and raised her golden cup to greet everyone entering. The passage from this side is the boys' dormitory, and walking from this side is the girls' dormitory. By the way, although I believe in your morality, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, boys are not allowed to enter the area of the girls' dormitory. Bruce clapped his hands. Okay, let's split up next. The old students can go back to their dormitories. The male freshman will go with me. The female freshman will follow Vivian. She is your female prefect. After being led by Bruce to the door of the dormitory, which looked like an oak barrel lid, Adam bid farewell to the enthusiastic prefect, and then entered the dormitory with the next roommates. Among the roommates were Uther Ramesses and Bernard Lancelot, who had sat next to Adam at the dinner earlier. In addition, there were two classmates, Eugene Kroll, a eldest brother who was taller than most of his peers, didn't speak much at the dinner and spent most of his time listening. Adam only knew about him that he liked to eat fish. Well, because two of the few times he took the initiative to speak were asking Adam if there was fish in the restaurant and what the methods were. Pamir, a very lively young man, introduced himself very enthusiastically and comprehensively. He loves Quidditch, wizard chess, Gobstone and other games. Adam also found out that his family was engaged in breeding magical animals and opened a store called Rare Birds and Animals in Hogsmeade. Under the warm light of the copper lamp, 5 black and yellow 4-poster beds were displayed in front of the 5 people. Each person's name was posted on the bedposts. Bernard was not afraid of finding mistakes. Bernard took the lead and walked to his 4-poster bed and sat down. Wow, this dormitory is bigger than I thought. Looking around, Bernard was startled by the package beside Adam's bed that was so high that it almost hit the ceiling. Whoa. What are these? Adam also sat on the bed and was checking his luggage. Hearing this, he stood up and took a look. Oh, these are the books I bought at Flourish and Blott's. It seems they have been sent. Book. Cologne, who turned around and looked over, opened his mouth wide. So many? Have you emptied Flourish and Blott's bookstore? It's pretty much the same, actually. I actually bought a copy of most of the books at Flourish and Blott's. Adam touched his chin and thought for a moment, then nodded. I quite like reading books. I can see it. That mountain of books was simply a horror story for Cologne, who loved games rather than studying. He shuddered and stopped looking at it, and instead said, Do you guys want to take a shower? Let's go together? I just saw a map in the common room. Chapter 14 Dormitory Renovation Plan. Faced with Cologne's invitation to take a bath together, several other roommates responded, I won't go. There are too many things to organize, not to mention the mountain of books and the suitcase Adam brought with him. Adam had previously sent 6 suitcases to Hogwarts by outpost. With so many things, even basic organization would take some effort. There shouldn't be a rush to organize, right? Take out the things you will use for class first, and we can help you with the rest on weekends when you don't have classes. Yes, if you don't take a bath, even the bed will get dirty, and you have to wash the sheets and quilts later. Don't worry about that. Adam smiled and reached into the inside of his cloak, but in fact he summoned a wand directly from his palm and pointed at himself. Clean it up. The roommates looked at Adam, who became clean after a gust of wind, and couldn't help but glance at the mountain of books next to him. Well, so many books were indeed not bought in vain. Although this spell is not as comfortable as taking a hot bath, it does save time. Do you want to try it? Adam looked at the 4 people eagerly. No, I still want to take a hot bath. After Cologne finished speaking, Bernard and Eugene also nodded. It was Uther who touched his chin and thought for a while before deciding to take a hot bath. Then, let's go and try the water temperature in the bathroom for you. The roommates closed the dormitory door, and Adam looked at the top of his luggage, where there was a letter tied with a bow. Opening the envelope, putting aside those embellished words, Dumbledore invited him to the principal's office on the 8th floor tomorrow afternoon to enjoy afternoon tea with him, and attached a password to the letter, coconut ice cream. Recalling the taste of this snack, Adam couldn't help licking his lips. It should be said that the desserts in the magic world are still good. Putting the letter away, Adam did not start to pack his luggage immediately, but took out SPI and Zyok from his pocket. They also ate some during the dinner. It's time for you to take a shower. Do you want to clean up? Or use the bubble card? The magic of the bubble card is to create pink bubbles with cleaning power, which can clean people or things thoroughly. After Sibby told him not to limit his imagination, Adam felt that this card might be able to develop the fruit ability of a certain evil chief of staff, but Adam obviously did not have the level to transform the magic of the Clow cards at present, so the current bubble card is not much different from the clean up except for the cleaning method. As for the problem that can be solved by the clean up, it is a bit wasteful to use the bubble card. Although Adam can only use one Clow card a day now, it is evening, so it is okay to use today's number here. Let's use the clean up. Zioke raised his hand and shook it. Let's save today's number for the Gan card. Sibby also nodded. You really can't forget Ganpei, obviously. This is not the first time. Adam stretched out his fingers helplessly and rubbed Zioke's head. Then, you can take a shower after eating. Taking out a large bag of compressed cotton from the suitcase, Adam took out a small piece and pulled it fluffy, turning it from a thumb-sized corner into a pillow-sized ball, then stretched out his hands to summon the seal wand and Ganpei, removed the seal. The Ganpei elf, which was less than the size of a palm and looked like a fairy, emerged from the card and flew around Adam. Turn this ball of cotton. After hearing Adam's words, the Ganpei elf flew over the cotton and sprinkled sparkling powder with a small magic wand. The cotton stained with powder immediately exuded the aroma of white sugar. This is Ganpei's ability. She can make the taste of food sweet, and can also turn any object into food without changing its shape. This seems to violate the rule that the transfiguration spell cannot produce food, but in fact this kind of magic belongs to alchemy rather than transfiguration. There is a similar spell in the wizard magic system, but it is not a transfiguration spell, but a spring of clear water. The water produced by the spell is drinkable and can quench thirst at the same time. The ball that Ganpei transformed is not strictly speaking a magic item, but a magic item although it looks like, smells like, feels like, and tastes like. These are the magical effects of this magic item, and it is still not a magic item, so it will not have any effects such as tooth decay caused by eating sugar. More importantly, because Ganpei did not transform, but transformed a magic item that met all the characteristics of Adam's cognition in terms of taste. The desserts it can transform are not limited to whether Adam knows its production process, but whether Adam knows its taste. Adam was able to continue drinking the Fat House Happy water that he had not had for many years, and it is a healthy version that will not leak over time. Using the spring water to make a cup of water, Adam turned Ganpei into a cup of cola. After taking a sip, he looked at Zioke and Sibby who were about to take a shower and could throw themselves into the water. Take your time to eat. I'm packing my luggage, home. Zioke took the time to wave his hand to show that he understood. Sibby, who gets addicted to sweets, can't help himself. Get bigger quickly, get smaller quickly. Wingardium Leviosa. After washing up, Adam's roommates were shocked by the drastic change in the dormitory. After Eugene opened the door, he was stunned at the door. Uther pushed him a few times before squeezing into the dormitory from his side. As a result, he made the same expression next to Eugene. What are you doing at the door? I didn't wipe it dry very well. The wind outside is so cold. Colin, who is not quite tall enough, couldn't squeeze in and had to jump outside the door. What happened? Look, wow. Bernard looked at the scene in front of him in shock. The dormitory is still the original dormitory, but opposite the original four-poster bed, the empty space now has 3 rows of ceiling-to-ceiling log cabinets, 5 small sofas, a floor-to-ceiling brass stove, and a floor-to-ceiling mirror. Especially Adam. Everything around the four-poster bed was turned upside down. Adam was sitting on a small sofa at this time, with 2 playing kittens lying on his lap. When he saw them coming back, he looked at them with an uneasy expression. Sorry, the changes I made are a little bigger, but I'm a little too tired tonight, so it's just a temporary measure to take everything out. If you don't like it, I will take out the things that occupy the public space on the weekend. Separate placement. No, I don't like it at all. Colin finally got into the dormitory and let out an exclamation. He walked to a small sofa and reached out to press it. The soft and comfortable touch made him feel a little itchy. Can I sit down? Of course, I prepared 5. With the double card in hand, Adam can copy a large number of pairs of anything with just one. After Cologne sat down, his body, which had just been relaxed after taking a hot bath, sank directly into the sofa, making him unable to help but let out a sigh. I love this thing so much. It's softer than a pillow made of velvet down. Can I sit here and play wizard chess? Sure, Adam reached out and gestured to the round table that originally existed in the dormitory, but was now placed among the 5 sofas. "It's just that I don't know how to play wizard chess. You may have to find someone else to play with you. I can teach you." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15: A Little Shocking Chinese Breakfast. These cabinets greatly improve the utilization of the original space. Bernard walked to a row of standing cabinets and took a look. Adam's books had been reduced in size and densely packed into only one floor, while each row of standing cabinets in front of him had 2 columns and 6 floors of space. So Bernard turned to look at Adam. "Maybe I could use some of that space. Everyone has a column, and there's also a column for public items. I can't give you an example right now, but it's always good to keep it. When I saw the mirror, I remembered that I needed it, otherwise it would be inconvenient to put on makeup. This is Uther." After he said it, Adam discovered that he had put on makeup before. It turned out that there were not dark circles around his eyes but smoky makeup. "It looks very cozy." Eugene sat down on the sofa, looked at the soft cushions under his feet and blinked. "It feels like someone has lived here for a long time. It feels like home." So, after a vote, the 5 people sitting on the small sofa unanimously agreed to keep Adam's changes to the dormitory compared to the public area. Adam's 4-poster bed and its surroundings were the most modified, but that was Adam's private area. Others were curious but did not ask. Everyone was a little tired after going through a lot of things today. After sitting on the sofa for a long time, we felt sleepy, so we went to bed. The first night after entering Hogwarts passed like this. After stretching, Cologne chirped a few times, sat up from the bed, and twitched his nose. "It smells so good." "You're awake." Colin turned his head and rubbed his eyes, only to see Adam and Eugene sitting on the small sofa. The round table in front of them held a stove and a crucible. "The breakfast at Hogwarts is in the Great Hall. Uther and the others have already gone. Or do you want to try the preserved egg chicken porridge and tea eggs I cooked like Eugene?" As Adam spoke, he rolled the tea egg in his hand on the table, smoothly tore off the eggshell and stuffed it into his mouth. "What is that?" Colin grabbed a handful of hair that looked like a chicken coop, got out of bed and walked to the crucible. He found a pot of soup rolling inside. There were rice, shredded pork and some dark things in the soup. Breakfast. From China, the breakfast at Hogwarts includes jam bread, kippers, eggs, bacon, corn flakes. "It's a little too greasy for me." Breakfast of bacon and omelette is not bad once in a while, but I can't get used to eating Adam all the time. Just before, my grandparents came and made breakfast for several days. The old man was very interested and it was hard to refuse. Alice Adam swallowed half of the tea egg and continued, "So I asked the house elves for some ingredients, and I brought some myself. However, the casserole was making soup, and it was my first time to use the cauldron to make porridge and tea eggs. Well, I don't have the tea at Hogwarts." "Good job, I'll use my own next time." Seeing that the fire was almost done, Adam used his wand to extinguish the flame, filled a small bowl and handed it to Eugene. "Be careful because it's hot. Try it first to see if it suits your taste." "Thanks." Eugene took the bowl and nodded to Adam. "And soup." Colin rubbed his face. The breakfast he had at home was basically bacon toast and baked potatoes. It couldn't be that complicated, but in fact, Adam hasn't started to do the really complicated stuff yet. "Well, you can probably drink it in the afternoon. We just don't have classes this afternoon, so I want you to try the yam, poria, and pigeon soup passed down by my mother, Cologne. Although I don't understand it, it seems to be very powerful." Curious about the exotic breakfast, after washing up, Colin also sat down and tasted a bowl of that porridge. It tasted great and was very different from the breakfast he usually had. "Drink a bowl of hot porridge in the morning and your whole body will warm up." Adam drank 2 bowls, but the remaining portion was not enough for Eugene and Colin to share. Fortunately, there were still a lot of tea eggs, and Colin ate 3 in one go. If Adam hadn't stopped him, he could have eaten the remaining 2 for Zio-K and CP. Adam deserves to be the one who owns the restaurant in his family. On the way to class, Colin realized that he seemed to be a little stuffed. "As long as you like it, I should be able to cook often, especially breakfast. As a chef, It is indeed a great feeling of accomplishment to receive good reviews for your food. Can I cook fish? Eugene turned back, his eyes shining with anticipation. Fish is a bit troublesome to handle, but I will consider it, provided there is fresh fish in Hogwarts. The British don't know how to handle fresh fish at all, such as looking up at the stars, boiling fish and eggs, etc. In the authentic way, the fish is stuffed directly with the internal organs. You can imagine the taste, so Adam wonders if fresh fish is stored at Hogwarts. Find a chance to ask the house elf. Anyway, he has brought all the spices to remove the smell. If you really have some, you can get a few. Oh, right, let me tell you in advance, the fish I cook may be different from what you have eaten before. It will have a lot of little spines. I hope Eugene can learn to pick fish bones, otherwise he will suffer the consequences of eating Adam's fish. The first class for Hufflepuff was Professor Sprout's herbology class. This was a gray-haired witch who always looked at the students with very loving eyes. It is worth mentioning that while serving as professor of herbology, Professor Sprout was also the head of House of Hufflepuff. After a brief greeting and welcoming everyone to the herbology class, Professor Sprout began her teaching. As an introductory course in herbology, Professor Sprout explained a harmless and powerful herb, Dictamnus. This is a very practical herb that can help wounds heal quickly without even being made into a potion. Dictamnus essence is the most commonly used trauma medicine for wizards. After a class of theoretical knowledge, Professor Sprout asked everyone to pick the Dictamnus that matured during the past holiday. In the second class, Adam put on gardening gloves and handled the Dictamnus he was responsible for quickly, and then he was stunned when he looked at Eugene beside him. "What are you doing?" Eugene did not answer him immediately, but carefully reached out and held the Dictamnus leaf. Picking Dictamnus, Adam carefully recalled the class he had just listened to. It seemed that Professor Sprout did not say that the picking process should be so meticulous. If you don't know, you might think Eugene is picking some precious things. Why do you have to do it so complicated? Picking by hand should be more efficient. Eugene lowered his head, turned out a few white fresh leaves from the bottom of his harvest, and handed them to Adam. Adam took a closer look and found that the leaves were torn and tattered, and the junction of the branches and leaves was connected to a piece of the main branch's skin, which looked as if it had undergone some inhuman destruction. "My strength is a bit strong, and I can't control it well." After Eugene finished speaking, he reached out and picked up a white fresh leaf, and then let go of his hand. Adam clearly saw a clearly visible fingerprint on the white fresh leaf, and even the white fresh juice was squeezed out, and he was sure that Eugene didn't use force just now. "Oh my God, buddy, are you a troll cub?" Looking at Eugene's somewhat lost expression, Adam swallowed a spit on his lips and patted his shoulder comfortingly. "It's okay, I believe there will be magical plants suitable for you. For example, devil's ivy, whomping willow, or squeezing the thick juice of babo tubers. This kind of work should also be suitable for him." Chapter 16 Mission Delivery. "Brothers, I'm back." With a tap on Colin's shoulder, Adam threw his bag on the long table and sat down. "Where did you go just now? I haven't seen you for so long," Colin said as he pushed the grilled sausage left for Adam in front of him. "I went to talk to Professor Sprout about growing plants in the dormitory." "Growing plants? Can't you just grow them if you want? There are a bunch of plants in their Hufflepuff common room, including pothos hanging from the ceiling, cacti on the table, maybe." "It's a magical plant," Eugene guessed. Adam nodded. "That's right, so you have to ask Professor Sprout. But don't worry, it's just a white plant. Professor Sprout gave me a seedling, and I planted it on the bedside, so I won't disturb you. Everyone's." He planted Bakeson mainly to practice magic and to prepare for applying to Professor Sprout to plant other magical plants. The magic of flower cards and tree cards cannot be practiced in a vacuum. Now he is working hard to learn the magic of GAN cards. If everything goes well, he can complete it just in time when the white flowers bloom, and then use the white flowers to learn the magic of flower cards. After lunch, Adam picked up his backpack and separated from the group again. "Where are you going again, Professor?" "Sprout asked me to bring something to Professor Dumbledore." Adam did it lie. Professor Sprout did ask him to bring a bottle of nectar from the honey orchid to Professor Dumbledore. "What about your pot of soup?" Colin swallowed. "Don't worry, it's just a gift. It won't take long, and we've just had lunch now." Adam waved behind him as he ran away. "I'm leaving." After returning to the dormitory, Bernard looked at Adam's four-poster bed and touched his chin in confusion. I remember Adam said that his parents were ordinary people, right? Why did he adapt so well to the wizarding world? No, he can no longer be described as well adapted. He is simply as comfortable as a fish in water, even more adaptable than the people from their original family of wizards. Eugene and Uther looked at each other and saw similar emotions to their own in the other's eyes. Colin didn't think so much. He just wanted to know when Adam would come back. He didn't even eat much at noon because of this pot of soup. Wait, he remembered that there seemed to be 2 tea eggs left in the morning, coconut sorbet. After reciting the password, Adam walked into the principal's office and saw Professor Dumbledore dozing behind his desk. After looking around, I saw that most of the portraits of the past principals were sleeping. In addition, there were a few empty frames. I guess these old principals had gone out to visit. Adam thought for a while, but still didn't wake up Professor Dumbledore. Seeing a chair opposite the desk, he took out a book and sat on it, reading and waiting. The refilling spell is a spell that summons liquid from a container that has been prepared in advance. If you learn this spell, you can use the gem card to conjure a large bucket of Coke in advance and have it at your fingertips next time. How to make a perfectly cooked steak Wellington using magic spells. How about asking Dad to send you some blood beef to try? Oh, I'm so sorry. I kept you waiting for so long. Right, Dumbledore opened his eyes sleepily, took off his half-moon glasses and rubbed his eyes, then put them on again and looked at the student in front of him. I actually waited until he woke up. He seemed to be a very gentle and patient child, and he was still reading and loved learning. Advanced household magic, a more exquisite life. Dumbledore's eyes stopped on the cover of the book and blinked. Professor Dumbledore, you're awake. Adam closed the book and stuffed it back into his satchel with a natural expression. He then took out an envelope, a small bag, and Professor Sprout's nectar from the satchel. These are the nectar that I personally gave to you, Nicolamito, and the nectar that Professor Sprout asked me to deliver. Thank you very much, Adam. I have to say you have been a great help to us, Professor. Dumbledore sighed, reached out and took the 3 items and put them aside, then took out his wand. What do you want to eat? Coconut sorbet? Lemon olive? Actually, I recommend the cockroach pile, but many people refuse to taste it because of its appearance. As Professor Dumbledore spoke, he conjured up exquisite plates on his desk, which contained exactly the snacks he mentioned. Professor Dumbledore, why don't you check first? Adam was a little surprised. That was the Philosopher's Stone, and he had already tried it, and the one he helped transport was indeed the real Philosopher's Stone. Don't worry about that kind of thing. Afternoon tea is more important. As he spoke, Professor Dumbledore threw a lemon sorbet into his mouth. The sour taste exploded between his lips and teeth, which made Professor Dumbledore's face wrinkle up. Oh, I seem to have confused lemon sour with lemon olive. As he spoke, Professor Dumbledore quickly threw another cockroach pile into his mouth. Adam took a breath. 1 coconut sorbet, please. The taste of the pink coconut sorbet is not strong, and the light sweetness and coolness spread on the tip of the tongue, making you feel happy, Professor Dumbledore. After taking a few bites, Adam couldn't help but ask, why would Nico Flamel ask me to do such an important thing? Oh? What's the matter, Professor? Dumbledore blinked, looking confused. Of course it's the Philosopher's Stone. Adam put the coconut ice cream on the table, looking very stressed. I saw Nicholas Flamel's name in a book. Then I knew what the red stone was. It's so important. What if I lose it? Calm down. Calm down. Didn't you hand it to me intact? Nothing happened during the period, right, Professor? Dumbledore smiled and conjured a glass of pumpkin juice and handed it to Adam. Adam took it and took a sip. But I'm just a little wizard. Last month I didn't even know there was magic in this world. What if someone finds out? No, Adam, Nicholas Flamel's protection measures for the Philosopher's Stone are much more stringent than you think, Professor. Dumbledore picked up the bag containing the Philosopher's Stone on the table and said mysteriously, in fact, the bag is cast with a Fidelius charm. The Fidelius charm, Adam showed confusion at the right time. That is a kind of protective magic. You should have seen it in Nicholas Flamel's house. Unless you take the initiative to tell others, even if you put this bag in front of others and let them touch every corner of the table, they will not be able to find the existence of this bag. Adam showed a surprised expression. So powerful. Can I learn this magic? If you can study hard, I believe there will be opportunities in the future, but it is probably too early to learn this spell with your current magic level, Professor. Dumbledore shook his head and said, but I will fulfill my promise and teach you the spell of the door key, Professor. Dumbledore took out a piece of paper, it should be the first-year Hufflepuff schedule, and looked at the paper for a while, then turned to Adam. I don't think it's a good idea to take up the weekend to attend classes. How about Wednesday afternoon? You can come to my place after the spell class. The principal's office is on the 8th floor, and among all the courses, only the spell class on the 4th floor is the most convenient. No problem, Professor. Well, then it's settled. I have some other things to deal with. You can continue to enjoy these snacks, and remember to close the door for me after leaving the office, Professor. Dumbledore picked up the bag containing the Philosopher's Stone and stood up. When he was about to reach the door, he turned his head and looked at Adam. By the way, there is one more thing I forgot to say. Please keep your mouth shut about the Philosopher's Stone, okay? Of course, no problem, Professor. Adam bit the spoon and showed a cute badger smile. Chapter 17 Potions Class. Adam rubbed his hands and left the principal's office with satisfaction after he finished eating the coconut sorbet just now. He still couldn't help but ran to Fox and asked very politely if he could touch it. Originally, he just went with the mentality of giving it a try without losing anything, but he didn't expect Fox to stare at him. After a while, he actually nodded in agreement. Phoenix, in fact, it should be translated as Phoenix. The feathers on the wings and tail feel very silky to the touch, while the fluff on the abdomen is extremely soft, and the feeling of rubbing the fingertips is simply mesmerizing. It's a pity that Adam didn't dare to go too far in his first contact, otherwise I really wanted to pick Fox up and take a deep breath, but as he came out of his intoxication, Adam couldn't help but think again. There was one question he didn't ask when he was talking to Professor Dumbledore just now, and that was why did Nico Flamel trust him so easily and entrust him with such an important matter, a descendant of a friend who has never met. Can he entrust the Sorcerer's Stone to him just because he is young? But when he brought the topic in this direction, Professor Dumbledore first threw out the fidelity charm to attract his attention, and then ran away without giving him a chance to ask questions. Could it be that he really had some other relationship with Nico Flamel? This question could not be verified for the time being, so Adam did not dwell on it for too long and simply forgot about it. When he returned to the dormitory the next morning was potions class. When Adam took out the crucible, Eugene beside him didn't say anything. Cologne, who was separated by a body, couldn't help it. Wait a minute, are you going to use the crucible from yesterday to cook the potion? You won't continue to use it to cook food in the future, right? Not sure what he was thinking of. Cologne looked disgusted. I don't want to eat food cooked in the cauldron where flobber caterpillars were cooked. Don't worry, it's impossible to throw the flobber caterpillar directly into the crucible. We usually use its juice. Is this the crux of the problem? Adam spread his hands. Is there any problem? Cleaning it up will make the crucible very clean, and to be honest, florb caterpillar juice is a commonly used thickening agent in potions. Don't you also have to drink these potions? That's different. Cologne shook his head desperately. He drank the potion because he had to drink it when he was sick, but he ate the food made by Adam for enjoyment. How hard it is to think about it before you take the initiative to eat something like that. This is not the previous crucible, Eugene spoke suddenly. Adam looked at him in surprise. How did you find out? The crucibles do have marks for identification, but the marks are on the bottom of the pot. Other than that, these crucibles are copied with double cards, so there should be no difference at all. Eugene thought for a while and said, yes, you have very high requirements for the quality of life, so you shouldn't save money in a place like this. Even if the crucible can be cleaned by cleaning it up, the psychological effect will still affect the mood of eating. Unless he has a special hobby in this area, it is impossible for a character like Adam who doesn't like the food cooked in school to cook directly himself. Not even willing to buy a crucible. Wow. Eugene, you are really great. Adam applauded Eugene's wit, while Colin looked at Adam in shock. Then what did you just do? He's kidding you. Bernard sighed and ruffled his partner's hair. Potions class needs to be taught in pairs. Originally, 5 people in a dormitory were not easy to divide, but Uther didn't know when he got together with the classmates in a certain girl's dormitory, and he happened to get together with the extra people from that dormitory group. Bang! The sound of the door being suddenly opened made the already noisy classroom quiet. Professor Snape strode to the edge of the podium, the corners of his dark robe tumbling behind him, like a group of bats following the footsteps of the devil. Turning around, Snape gathered up his cloak and scanned every student with his gloomy eyes. Every student he saw shrank his head and behaved like a quail, with one exception among the crowd of shivering eyes. Those excited eyes with a hint of excitement, admiration, and many complex emotions were particularly conspicuous. Snape, who was proficient in legilimency, couldn't help but squint his eyes, as if he suddenly saw something. Something glaring, frowning, slightly unaccustomed. Professor Snape began to call names. Adam. Reed. Well, he remembered the name. You are here to learn the precise science and exacting craft of potion making. Since there is no foolish waving of wands, many of you will not believe that this is magic, Professor. Snape's deliberately lowered voice echoed in the quiet classroom. He walked down from the podium and slowly walked among the students. I don't expect you to truly understand the beauty of the slowly simmering crucible emitting white smoke and wafting out bursts of fragrance. You don't really understand the wonder of the liquid flowing into people's blood vessels, which makes people's hearts ecstasy and their wills blurred. Magic. I can teach you how to increase your reputation, brew honor, and even prevent death, but there must be one thing: you are not the stupid fool I often encounter, Mr. Reed, Professor. Snape happened to walk to the position behind Adam. His sudden opening would usually startle the students, but to his surprise, Adam looked excited instead. Yes, Professor. Facing those increasingly excited eyes, Snape averted his gaze with a slight discomfort, turned towards the podium, and spoke at the same time. What do I do with a fresh horned slug? The guts are removed and steamed. Tell me about the precautions when using the lionfish spine. The lionfish vertebrae need to be ground into powder for use, but it should be noted that the effect of this potion material will be lost quickly after being ground, so it must be processed before brewing the potion. It can only be preserved intact at ordinary times. It is best to avoid direct sunlight. Because Professor Snape asked about very broad precautions, Adam had to explain all the points that should be noted about this thing. That's enough, Snape interrupted Adam's answer after hearing all the knowledge points from the third grade. Mr. Reed, do you think you can learn well enough without taking classes? The first grade courses are no longer enough for you, are they? I know that potions is a subject that requires precise operation, Professor, and I am very interested in it, but I also know that it is dangerous and foolish to just rely on self-study. Adam felt that there seemed to be a subtle hint of your self-aware in Professor Snape's eyes. Of course, maybe he was wrong, so what I can do is memorize the theoretical part before formally studying this course in school, hoping to be able to focus more on listening to the professor's teachings in class. Professor Snape stared at Adam with squinted eyes for a while, then suddenly said, if I wanted to brew up a bottle of intelligence enhancer, how many slices of armadillo liver would I need? I think the brain enhancer uses armadillo bile, Professor. It takes 2 pints, Professor. Snape did not make a comment but let out a sigh. Then he turned around, picked up the book, waved his wand towards the blackboard, and said without looking back, in fact, adding 2 1/16 of a pint will make the enhancer more effective, but 2 1/8 pints of armadillo bile will turn the enhancer into a bottle of poison. Adam's eyes lit up. He opened his note and wrote this down. Whether it's a more effective intelligence-enhancing agent or a poison, it's all very useful. Chapter 18. The Hand of Evil is ready to move. Merlin, Adam, you are so amazing. After walking out of the potion class, Cologne couldn't help but exclaimed, not only is he good at studying, but he also dares to respond to Professor Snape's questions. I didn't dare to move when he looked at me. It's okay, I'm just very interested in potions. After all, the Philosopher's Stone can't be chewed directly. You have to brew the elixir of life to extend your life, and some potions are really very useful. Although Professor Snape looks a little oppressive, he is still a good person. As he spoke, Professor Snape walked past a group with a book, and the roommates. Oh no, it was as if the whole corridor had pressed the mute button for a few seconds. This sense of oppression seems to be more than just a little stronger. Cologne breathed a sigh of relief. He almost choked on the words he had just said, and then he couldn't help but say the complaint that was stuck in his throat just now. How do you know that Professor Snape is a good person? When I handed in the boil potion, he almost stuffed a bottle of potion into my eye socket. I think that's largely because the boil potion you handed in was green, while everyone else's in the books all handed in blue. Swallowing his real thoughts, Adam changed to a more euphemistic statement. After all, it's potion learning. The potions you brew are for people to drink, so of course they have to be stricter. Think about it, if the professor of potions class is smiling, He will give you a high score regardless of whether the potion you brew is qualified or not, and he won't make things difficult for students in the exam. Would you dare to drink the potion brewed by such a student? It can be compared to the exams of medical students. Among all majors, the strictest exam requirements can be said to be among the best. Cologne thought about the horrible result and shook his head. Apart from anything else, he didn't dare to drink the boil potion he brewed just now. Then, he can be stricter in the assessment but teach in a gentler way at ordinary times, right? Bernard was also listless. Obviously, as Cologne's partner, he was also scolded by Professor Snape just now. After all, there are so many students. This method may be more efficient. As the youngest potion master, Professor Snape should be very busy at ordinary times, making hundreds of gold galleons every minute. Is brewing potions so profitable? Uther, who had been listening on the side, widened his eyes. Even their family would be jealous of this terrible money-making ability. Bernard was also stunned. He was born a muggle, but he also went to Gringotts to exchange currency and knew how many pounds 1 galleon was worth. Lawyers are already a high-income group, but I didn't expect that those who brew potions would actually. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in Bernard's mind. Isn't the potion master the dentist of the wizarding world? Oh, no. According to Professor Snape's opening words, potion masters are the general practitioners of the wizarding world, but even for general practitioners, this income is a bit too scary. Well, Adam is exaggerating about hundreds of gold galleons every minute, but think about the price of potions. If Professor Snape is really a very powerful potion master, his income should be very high. Cologne recalled, I heard from customers in my store that there is a potion called Felix Felicis, which is difficult to buy even at several thousand galleons. Hiss, Uther and Bernard took a breath. The three of them thought that Professor Snape had used such precious time to teach them, and there really shouldn't have too high expectations for Professor Snape's attitude. Adam didn't remind them that it takes a full 6 months to brew Felix Felicis, and the failure rate is very high. After all, strictly speaking, Professor Snape's attitude is indeed a bit problematic, but so what? Professor Snape is already the best potion professor in the entire British wizarding world, and there is no doubt about that. Which book is the intelligence enhancer from? Eugene suddenly walked to Adam and asked, advanced potion making. Adam looked at him in surprise. Eugene is also interested in potions. Speaking of which, Eugene looked very skilled when handling the potion materials just now, and he cooperated perfectly with him when boiling the potion. It seems that he really likes potions. Eugene nodded after getting the answer, and silently fell back a few steps and returned to the back of the team. Tired of grilled sausages, Adam picked some Provençal stew and grilled chicken legs for lunch, and ate some corn chips as snacks. The corn chips wrapped in cheese tasted quite good, but the only drawback was that the calories were a bit high. I don't know how the students of Hogwarts stay in shape with such a meal. Is it all Quidditch? Adam, who has never taken a flying class, has no way of knowing how much physical energy is consumed by riding a flying broom. They will have the first transfiguration class in the afternoon. As soon as they entered the classroom, Adam pulled Eugene to sit in the first row. After thinking about it, Cologne and others decided not to follow them, but sat in the second row behind Adam. I wanted to sit with my roommate, but my strength did not allow it, so I decided to sit in the second row to be safe. After sitting down, Adam looked at Professor McGonagall, the tabby cat form on the podium with his eyes shining and his hands ready to move. Professor McGonagall, who was concentrating on playing cats, was actually scanning the students with his eyes and was slightly stunned when he noticed Adam's gaze. Was he discovered? In Adam's eyes, the tabby cat on the podium with its hands in its pocket stopped looking at him, its pupils became round, its ears stood up, and its tail shook unconsciously. Hiss, Adam covered his chest and lay on the desk with a happy face. What's wrong? Eugene looked at him with concern, and Adam closed his eyes and shook his head. No. It's okay, he just got a disease that will kill him if he can't touch a cat. I should have put Zyok and SPI in my pocket and brought them to class together. Thinking of this, Adam struggled to look at Professor McGonagall on the podium, considering the feasibility of saying that he didn't know the other person's true identity and then taking the opportunity to touch him on the podium. Professor McGonagall, who confirmed that he seemed to have been discovered, was silent for a while, and hesitated for a while on the choice of whether to change back now, and finally insisted on his teaching plan, using Animagus in the first class to arouse students' interest in the Transfiguration class. But since she was seen, Professor McGonagall was too embarrassed to let herself go, So she pulled out her hand from her chest and sat upright on the podium. Seeing this, Adam also realized that he seemed to have been exposed, so he had to sigh and hold back his eager hand as the bell rang. Professor McGonagall glanced at the number of students and saw that they were all there, and jumped down from the podium, causing the students to exclaim one after another. Professor McGonagall glanced at Adam, and sure enough, there was no surprise in his eyes, but rather a bit of unconcealed regret. After thinking for a few seconds, Professor McGonagall felt that this question could not be thought about in detail, so she should just go to class. Fortunately, in addition to being interested in cats, Adam was also interested in transfiguration, especially after he became more and more proficient in Gump's magic. With the transfiguration spell shaping in Gump's dessert transformation, Adam could almost reproduce the desserts in his memory in any shape. The only pity is that Gump's magic can only transform desserts for the time being, and the magic of transforming other foods can only be tried by Adam when he has enough magical attainments. Chapter 19 Version Answer. Professor McGonagall's first class was about the introduction to the transfiguration spell, and the class assignment was to turn a match into a needle. This is to turn a dead object into a dead object when the volume and shape are similar, involving a short-term material change and a subtle shape change. It is indeed very suitable as the first lesson for beginners. Adam pointed his wand at the match and recited the spell. The match became slender, sharp, and metallic in the next moment, and finally turned into a silver sewing needle. Well done, Professor. McGonagall, who had been paying attention to Adam, had his eyes lit up. He walked over and picked up the needle to take a look. Not only did the material change very evenly, the shape was almost perfect, and even the threading hole at the end of the needle was transformed. Try to see if you can change it back, Professor. McGonagall put the needle back in front of Adam. Adam tried it after hearing this, but found it a bit difficult this time. However, after a little thought, Adam understood the key and succeeded in one fell swoop. Excellent. 5 points for Hufflepuff, Professor. McGonagall originally planned to give Adam some pointers when he had no idea, but he didn't expect Adam to do it on his own. This is a genius in transfiguration. As long as he's well trained, he will definitely become a master of transfiguration as a professor at Hogwarts. Is there anything more fulfilling than seeing his students achieve great success in their profession? Professor McGonagall encouraged Adam with a few words of surprise, and then went to instruct others. Some people's matches did not change at all. Obviously they did not understand the content before, or there was some problem when casting the spell. After Professor McGonagall left, Adam stared at the matches and began to think about the second spell just now. According to his current understanding, the process of casting a spell is like using magic to walk through an endless maze with countless exits, and the dead ends in this maze are not meaningless but may make the spell have special effects. The way a magician casts a spell is to honestly rely on research to find the way from the entrance to the exit and then control the magic to walk along the way. If you want a special effect, go to a special dead end, of course. In fact, casting a spell also involves various mystical elements, etc., which is very complicated. Here is a simplified description of the process. The advantage of this method of casting is that the casting is simple and clear without spells, and external objects such as magic wands only play an amplifying role. If the magic power is sufficient, you can cast the spell silently and without a wand as long as you learn it. The disadvantage is that the caster must fully understand the magic. If you know it, you know it, and if you don't know it, you don't know it. If you want to create new magic, you need a lot of time and energy to explore and research, which is very demanding for the creator. The way wizards cast spells is a little rough. Their casting ability comes from their bloodline, so they can cast spells without fine control of the direction of magic power. Therefore, the current casting method is to first use spells and casting actions to frame a range including the entrance and exit, and then directly pour magic power into the entrance. Although the loss is a bit high, due to the existence of the frame, the magic power will only come out from the correct exit, and the effect of casting can be achieved, which makes the ancestors of wizards very satisfied. This casting method can set multiple different frames for the same road, which leads to multiple variants of the same spell, such as higher precision to reduce the magic power loss of the spell, including certain dead ends to make the spell produce special effects, etc. But the disadvantages are also obvious. If the frame is not set correctly at the beginning, something will go wrong. That is, when the spell is invented, the effect of the spell is more random and the controllability of subsequent development is not high. The task assigned by Professor McGonagall just now is equivalent to asking him to walk through this road after injecting magic power, not waiting for the magic power on the road to disappear and the spell to be lifted automatically. But to walk back from the exit, Adam suspected that this was the principle of the spell's counterspell, based on the fact that the flow of magic power between Luminescent Flash and Nox was opposite. At the same time, his success in turning the silver needle back into a match also confirmed this conjecture due to different cognitive dimensions. The counterspell in the eyes of wizards is not like this. The counterspell they use often has a spell and action different from the original spell, which is equivalent to setting a new frame, but in fact, in Adam's eyes, the new frame causes the final magic power to walk the route of the original spell in reverse at the same time. It is not difficult to associate that the wizard's counterspells have another disadvantage, that is, the problem caused by the inability to control the precise flow direction of the injected magic power. Not all spells can create the opposite path by changing a frame, that is to say, not all spells can be countered, but fortunately, wizards are not completely helpless. They can just dismantle the frame and let the magic flow directly through the maze, making it impossible to maintain the spell. In a sense, this can be regarded as removing the spell. This is the principle of universal counterspells, which stop the spell and end all spells through this method. Most spells can be removed in this way, except for the 3 legendary unforgivable curses, which are proven to have no counterspells. Thinking of this, Adam felt that the unforgivable curses might not be completely unreversible. According to this principle, he might try his method. It's a pity that no one has been hit by the unforgivable curse now, and he is not interested in taking an unforgivable curse himself. After understanding this point, Adam suddenly realized that combining the 2 casting methods and using the wizard's magic as a resource for rapid growth on the road of the mage seems to be the answer to the version. Use the advantage of being able to precisely control magic power to quickly learn wizard version spells, release targeted counterspells for each spell, and even use the range defined by the wizard version spells to change the release method of these spells to the mage version, although the last one seems a bit redundant. It can actually bring great help to Adam in both the early and late stages. For Adam in the early stage, the mage version magic is more concise, accurate and efficient when released. The most important thing is that his magic power increases in direct proportion to his magic knowledge. In the process of transforming spells, his magic knowledge will definitely be greatly improved. For Adam in the later stage, he who has mastered a lot of magic and magic knowledge wants to go higher and further, so the path of the mage must be more suitable for him. Compared with the state of wizards who know the magic but don't know why, Adam still wants to fully master his magic power. In addition, the upper limit of wizards, or warlocks, depends on blood, while the upper limit of mages depends on wisdom. It would be fine if the bloodline came from a god or a demon, but the bloodline of wizards in this world came from magical animals that intermarried with their ancestors. The pinnacle of magical animals was roughly like Fox, whom he touched yesterday. This ceiling was a bit too low compared to the ceiling of wizards. Chapter 20. Before the flight class. After finding the next path, Adam did not immediately devote himself to studying enthusiastically. After all, he wants to study magic in order to protect his life and live a better life. With a magic stone in hand, he has enough time to slowly enrich himself. There is no need to give up the current enjoyment just to rush for time. Wednesday of the second week of the first school year was the day Adam came into contact with wizard chess for the first time in his life. General, Ats. Cologne shouted excitedly. The White King on Adam's side on the chessboard looked at the enemy moving in front of him and couldn't help but tremble on his throne. This is already the 4th time today. If it weren't for the constraints of the rules, it would have wanted to run away. Adam looked at the situation on the chessboard, analyzed the situation and said, I lost. Cologne, you are really good at wizard chess. Hey. It's not that powerful. Colin twisted on the sofa uncomfortably. Adam, you are also very good. You have just learned the rules and you are already able to play well. Adam smiled and touched Zyok and Sibi, who were rolled into a ball on his legs, and waved his wand to restore the wizard chess piece. The wizard chess will restore itself after a game, but it will take some time. Those who are eager to start the next game like them can only change it themselves, or take out another wizard chess. By the way, Adam, how are you doing with your potions homework? It's already written, so hurry up. Where are you, Eugene? It's finished. Okay, I'll write after dinner. Didn't have the habit of copying other people's homework. He only asked this to know the progress of others. If everyone had finished writing, it was almost time for him to start writing. Hey, why are you all in the dormitory? Everyone is outside discussing tomorrow's flying lesson. Bernard and Uther returned to the dormitory and watched the 3 people in the dormitory happily introduce the stories they heard in the auditorium. They are all lying to you. Even if you are a wizard, the adults at home will not allow children who are not in school to ride broomsticks, directed the soldiers to advance without raising his head. Actually, think about it, broomsticks are cars in the wizarding world. Which parent would allow their children to drive before getting a driver's license? How dangerous? Under Adam's persuasion, the knight hesitantly stepped forward to block the opponent's soldiers. Eugene nodded in agreement. What, Uther? And Bernard expressed shock. There were so many people in the auditorium telling their own stories. Could it be a story, speaking of which, it's okay if Bernard doesn't understand. Uther, aren't you also a child of a wizard family? Don't you know? Looked up in confusion. I thought they were talking in a decent way, and I thought you were different in the UK. Uther sighed and sat down on the sofa. By the way, Adam, the house elf in the kitchen asked us to give this to you. Uther dug through his pocket and took out a box and handed it to Adam. What's in it? Are you going to make a new dish? It's a new snack. Adam opened the box and revealed that it was full of chestnuts. This box was given to me by my grandma, and it has been cast with a traceless stretching spell. This box full of chestnuts should be able to be used for a long time. I need to prepare other ingredients for the cake. I have something to do in the afternoon and I don't have time. Why not make some sugar-roasted chestnuts and eat them now tonight? Anyway, it won't be tiring to stir-fry with magic. Good, roommates. Although I don't know what roasted chestnuts are like, just eat the food Adam made that night. The aroma of honey, syrup and chestnuts filled the entire dormitory. The roasted chestnuts that had just come out of the pot had cracks, and a little bit of the yellow chestnut flesh was exposed from the cracks. It only took a little force to open them. Put the peeled chestnuts into your mouth. The soft, glutinous and sweet chestnut meat is still a little hot. As the chestnuts are ground by the teeth, they turn into dense chestnut puree. The sweetness of syrup and honey, plus the light taste of starch decomposed by saliva. The sweetness is mixed together, and the layered sweetness brings an extraordinary sense of happiness. No, I will gain weight if I keep eating like this. I seem to have a small belly now. Uther, who accidentally ate a pound, clutched his bulging belly and wailed on the bed. Don't talk nonsense. You are not fat at all. This is just a normal reaction after you eat enough. It will be fine after digestion. Adam thought for a while and clarified for himself, and even if I gain weight, the food at Hogwarts is far more oily and sugary than what I cook. I only have a secondary responsibility at most. I want to start losing weight. Seeing him so sad, Adam couldn't bear to say, "Oh, okay, at worst, I won't call you when I'm cooking next time." Yes, I will eat your share for you. I have no intention of controlling my figure, said excitedly that he won't gain weight even though he doesn't grow taller with anything he eats. No. Adam, you must ask me to eat together. Adam, people who don't quite understand how you want to lose weight, tomorrow will be the first flying lesson in my life. I hope the weather will be good tomorrow. Bernard sighed, riding a broomstick. Even though he had accepted that he was a wizard, it still felt magical. Apart from those who are afraid of heights, how many people can resist the temptation of flying? I hope so. I don't know exactly when I fell asleep, but it was still light when Adam woke up. How come you guys woke up earlier than me today? Adam was surprised to find that he was the last one to get up, and he looked at the alarm clock on the bedside table. His biological clock was fine, and he woke up at about the same time as yesterday. Today we have a flying lesson, and everyone is too excited to sleep, Bernard said while wearing socks. Speaking of which, Bernard was a boy with exquisite clothes at first, and the accessories such as garter clips and shirt clips even made Adam, a local dog, think that they were some kind of special equipment. As a result, after the assimilation of the four of them, Bernard now started to kick his socks casually and put on his shirt directly. Uther, who still needed to put on makeup before going out, jumped from the second place on the list of time required to prepare for going out to the first place. Great, there are not many clouds today. It must be a sunny day. Cologne looked out the window with his hands on his hips. Won't it be very sunny? I feel that the British sun should not be able to make you darker. Uther rolled his eyes at Cologne when he heard this. It seems that the entire first grade is taking flying lessons today. It's okay in the common room, as there are more honest badgers among the little badgers, but in the auditorium, You can hear countless people bragging to their classmates about their experience of riding a flying broom. For example, a little classmate with platinum hair is sharing his legendary experience of riding a flying broom to avoid a Muggle helicopter. At the distance, he would be sucked into the propeller. Bernard's expression is subtle. He doesn't know about flying brooms, but he knows about helicopters. These people are really making up stories. Haven't we known about this kind of thing for a long time? Adam patted Bernard on the shoulder. Let's go. Our flying class is in the first period in the morning. Chapter 21, a small episode on the flying class. The flying lesson takes place on the lawn in front of the Hogwarts gate. On the way to class, Bernard looked at Adam, who was so calm that he was incompatible with the warm atmosphere around him, with a strange expression on his face. You don't seem to be very interested in flying lessons, Adam. Always made him feel like a fake little wizard from a Muggle family. He was curious about everything in the magical world, but Adam seemed to have a commonplace indifference to many things. Through this period of getting along, he understood that this seemed to be because Adam had too many ideas of his own, but he still couldn't understand it. That's flying. It can't be said that I'm not interested. Flying is an experience worth looking forward to, but this technology lacks practicality for me. Adam spread his hands. I can't ride a broomstick to my parents' restaurant. That's true. Bernard nodded. He didn't have any physical property to inherit, but after Adam said this, it seemed that he should also consider whether to fully enter the wizarding world in the future. The professor of flying lessons is Mrs. Hooch, who is also the referee of the Hogwarts Quidditch game. She has short gray hair and yellow eyes like hawks. Everyone, stand next to a broomstick. What are you waiting for? Come on, hurry up. It can be seen that this is a resolute lady standing next to the broomstick. Adam glanced at the broomstick at his feet and found that the branches at the tail were a little messy, and there were even signs of breakage in some places. He hoped it would not affect his use later. Mrs. Hokey glanced around and found that everyone was in their places, and shouted, "Put your right hand over the broom handle and say, 'Get up, stand up.'" The broomstick suddenly jumped into Adam's hand. Although the students around me may have failed the first time because they were too excited, they all succeeded after several attempts. Everyone held a broom handle and looked very excited. Don't worry, you need to know some things about flying before you actually take off. Mrs. Hooch began to explain how to hold the broomstick correctly and how to sit on it without falling off. During the explanation, she walked past each person and corrected their posture. Stand straight. Leaning too far forward will cause your broomstick to rush forward at the beginning. Mrs. Hokey patted Bernard on the back and walked to Adam. Well, that's nice. You can hold it more comfortably. If you want to play Quidditch, you can't hold the broomstick with both hands. What exactly is Quidditch? Bernard couldn't help but muttered. He heard his classmates talking about this yesterday. He wanted to ask but found that he couldn't get in the conversation. A game of catching balls while riding on a broomstick. Maybe you can read the origins of Quidditch. I have this book on my bookshelf. I'll take a look when I get back. Okay, kids, stay in this position and remember what I just said. Hold the broom steady, rise a few feet, then lean forward slightly and fall straight back to the ground. When I whistle later, you will push your legs together. Kick off the ground, kick hard. Mrs. Hokey stood at the front of the team and looked at the students in front of her, holding her silver whistle in her hand. Listen to my whistle. 3, 2, 1, accompanied by a clear whistle. Adam kicked his legs hard, and his whole body flew into the air. It was really a novel experience to ride a broom and hover in the air. Even though Adam had been mentally prepared before, his heartbeat started to accelerate uncontrollably at this time. There was a sudden noise around. It turned out that a classmate was too excited and shook his upper body, causing the broomstick to move around. Mrs. Hokey called him down from the sky and gave him a lesson. After watching the excitement, Adam's attention returned to himself. After taking a few deep breaths to calm himself down, Adam began to try to control the broomstick, up, down. After his feet returned to the ground, Adam got off the broomstick and looked at the broom with eyes shining. Okay, I have to admit that flying a broomstick is a bit fun. I wonder what it feels like to fly with wings. It seems that the study of Xianpe can be mentioned earlier. Wow. Back on the ground, Bernard staggered a little when he got off the broomstick. His legs seemed a little weak and his face was a little pale, but his eyes were bright. The flying broomstick is so awesome. I never thought that one day I would be able to fly in the sky. I mean, without an iron shell around it. The material of the aircraft shell is not iron, but I agree with what you said before. Adam turned his head and saw Cologne turning a corner in the air, flying diagonally downwards toward him on his broomstick with a look of panic on his face. Adam's pupils shrank, and an invisible magic circle quickly formed under his feet. Bang! With a muffled sound, Cologne hit the air in front of Adam, as if he had a thick shield. Fortunately, for some reason, he suddenly lost control of his broomstick, and the speed of the broom suddenly dropped. In the end, Cologne just fell off the broom, which was 3 or 4 steps above the ground. What did I just say, madam? Hooch rushed over quickly, grabbed Colin and checked him. After confirming that he was not injured, she said angrily, rise a few feet, then lean forward slightly, and fall vertically back to the ground. I don't care what operating techniques you have heard elsewhere, you must do it in my class. If it happens again, you will be put in solitary confinement. Letting go of Colin, Madam Hooch looked at the other students with a suffocating look. You all remember this too, madam. Hooch began to explain how to move forward and backward in the air, and then the get out of class was over, asking everyone to remember the last things she said. She would ask questions in the next class, and those who couldn't remember would not be allowed to get on the flying broom. Are you okay, Adam? Walk to Colin. I'm fine, just a little sore in the nose. Colin thought about it and still didn't care about the weirdness of the moment just now. The broom lost control and hit the air, etc., which should be an illusion caused by his panic and confusion in the control of the broom. What happened just now? Cologne's eyes wandered. I just remembered the Quidditch moves I saw in the newspaper before, and wanted to try a pose, but I didn't expect. Shouldn't you be glad that you didn't try the Wronski feint? Uther complained when he heard Cologne's words when he came over. I'm not stupid. And I know I was wrong now, okay? I was scared when the broom lost control just now. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Effective Learning Makes Me Happy. The accident in the flying class was just a minor incident, and not many people took it seriously even when it happened, not to mention beginners of flying brooms. Even professional Quidditch players have accidents and even deaths every year. The bad mood caused by the accident stopped before lunch. Hey, Adam, do you want to watch the Quidditch team's training? They are going to train new tactics today. Colin jumped into the dormitory and saw Adam writing something while stroking his 2 kittens. Colin knew that Adam was going to refuse him. Sure enough, Adam said without raising his head, no, you go. I'm not very interested in Quidditch training. Watching Quidditch games is fine. Although the game balance is terrible, the competition is really full, and in most cases it is mixed with violent factors. No wonder it has become the most popular sport among wizards, but the training seemed very boring, all of which were repetitive ball catching, training to catch high-speed golf balls, etc. Adam had been there once before and was no longer interested. If he had free time, he could take it as a walk, but he didn't have time now. Hey, Adam, come with me. I remember you had already finished all your homework. What is this? Cologne lingered behind Adam and found that the full text on the parchment seemed to be dancing, which dazzled him. It's a paper on potions. When he ran out of ink halfway through writing a word, Adam calmly cast a refilling spell on the pen of the quill. Potions. Paper? This shouldn't be homework. Why are you writing this? Remember when I went to ask Professor Snape questions after the potions class the day before yesterday? He told me that if I could prove my ability, I wouldn't have to repeat the potion operations that I had already mastered in class, but could put those more advanced knowledge into practice, and then threw me a copy of Powerful Potion. Adam patted a book next to him. The potion knowledge in Powerful Potion is beyond the syllabus for first-year students, but it can only be considered a difficult problem for Adam. Although he thinks that Professor Snape should only use this book to intimidate him, even if the paper he writes in the end is not so brilliant, as long as he has something to say, Professor Snape will give him the right to brew different potions from his classmates during class after scolding him a few times. But Adam still wants to do his best to see if he can give Professor Snape a surprise. I don't really understand a nerd like you, Cologne thought he could be exempted from homework. But it turned out that he was exempted from the current homework and did a more difficult homework, so he quickly moved away from the parchment. Then, Bernard and I will go to see it. Well, be careful not to be hit by the ball. Don't ask. If you ask, this kind of thing has happened before. Although it didn't happen in Hufflepuff, Adam spent another 2 days perfecting his paper, and after 3 rounds of inspection and revision, he finally copied the final draft neatly onto parchment in beautiful handwriting. All the parchments connected together were 4 feet long. After the thick stack of parchments was placed on his desk, Professor Snape was silent for a long time before speaking. The pile of words does not improve the quality of a paper, Mr. Reed. No, Professor, I have tried to use fewer words. Adam shrugged his shoulders. His paper used powerful potion as an introduction and sorted out his knowledge and understanding of potions. To be honest, his level of potion seemed to have improved after writing this paper. Sometimes he would go back and revise it after finishing it, otherwise he would not have revised it several times before completing it. Professor Snape picked up the paper and took a look. He was just going to take a quick look. He had already picked up the first page and was about to turn the page. However, after reading a few lines, he could not help but frown and went back to the first line to read it word by word. You can go back first. I will find you after I finish reading. After reading the first paragraph, Professor Snape put down the paper and said, "So, okay, thank you, Professor Snape." Professor Snape was tortured by Adam and had developed antibodies. At first, when he saw Adam's appearance, which was completely different from other students in front of him, Professor Snape would frown, turn his head, and feel a little disgusted. But now Professor Snape cannot naturally. Walking out of Professor Snape's office, Adam touched his chin and thought, can he also find other professors to do the same to improve his learning progress? Although the progress of transforming wizard spells into mage magic is slow due to his magic knowledge, his speed of learning spells is indeed very fast. Hogwarts' faculty is quite luxurious. Except for the professor of defense against the dark arts, the professors of other subjects are all top talents in the industry. It is said that if you don't take advantage of an opportunity, you will suffer a loss. Even Professor Dumbledore relied on his good relationship with Fawkes to visit him from time to time after learning the Portkey charm. There is no reason to miss the will of other professors. It will be difficult to have such an opportunity after graduation. So on this sunny afternoon, Adam walked into the office of each professor with the pace of going to the supermarket to grab discounted eggs, and then returned with a stack of big books. "Adam, did you go to the library?" When Adam came back, only Uther was in the dormitory. He looked at Adam with some surprise. "I just came back from the library. Why didn't I see you?" "These are not books borrowed from the library." Adam put the books in his hand on the bedside table and arranged them neatly. "I borrowed them from professors." "Professor? Which professor?" "Many professors. This one was given by Professor McGonagall. These 2 were given by Professor Flitwick, and this one was given by Professor Sprout." Wait, did you go to a book exchange held by a professor? Why did the professors lend you books?" "Because I think the progress of the content in class is a bit slow. I want to expand some new knowledge." Uther hesitated, with an expression of "Do you want to hear what you are talking about?" After a long time, he spoke. "Did the professors agree?" "It can be considered as agreed. Professor McGonagall and others advised me to study more solidly at the beginning, but I spent some time convincing them." Adam blinked and decided to skip the specific persuasion part. For example, she turned a teacup in Professor McGonagall's office into a crowned parrot, and demonstrated a silent and wandless floating spell to Professor Flitwick, and so on. In comparison, Professor Sprout was the most difficult to convince, but after Adam's soft and hard persuasion, the gentle witch reluctantly gave Adam a book after giving a few questions as an examination and agreed to take Adam to greenhouse number 3 to take care of Mandrix on weekends. "So many things, can you learn them all?" Uther felt a headache looking at the stack of books. "Actually, it's okay. I have been self-studying before, and I have time to play with you, right? Now that I have the guidance of the professor, the study time has not been extended, but the learning efficiency is definitely higher than when I was self-studying." Sprout was not on the bed. Adam picked up Zyok and took a sip. "Effective learning makes me happy, unlike the boring recitation of knowledge that would never be used after graduation in the previous life. Learning magic knowledge is like fitness, which is addictive. This feeling of continuous self-improvement is indeed fascinating. As long as you are happy." Chapter 23 Halloween is coming. With the help of several professors, Adam's life began to become regular and healthy because there is only one professor for each course. The coursework at Hogwarts is quite easy. All 8 courses have one big class per week, which is 2 classes even though Adam has after-school tutoring for 6 subjects, except flying class and history of magic. He still feels more relaxed than when he was in college in his previous life. From the perspective of his roommates, Adam almost has twice the study pressure as them. He often goes to the library or other places to do his own things, and can still spare enough time to play wizard chess with them, watch Quidditch training, and even study recipes. Adam, are you really okay? Cologne looked at Adam, who had just put down the book, and hesitated. If you feel tired, you don't have to go. Of course not. I was just reading a book just now, which is a pastime for me. Cologne glanced at the cover of the book. Advanced potion making. Well, how should I put it? It doesn't look like a book that can be used for pastime at all. But why does this book look so shabby? He remembered that Adam was very protective of his books. Adam put ZIOK and SPI into his pockets, picked up his shoulder bag, walked to the door of the dormitory, turned around and looked at Cologne, who was still not moving. Let's go. Didn't we make an appointment with them before? Don't let them wait anxiously. When Adam and his friends arrived, most of the people had already arrived. It started. Adam sat down on the bench and looked at Cedric beside him. The current Hufflepuff Quidditch team is still composed of senior students, and Cedric is not a seeker yet. Not yet. It's about to start, Cedric said as he looked at Adam's shoulder bag, and the classmates around him came over when they saw Adam coming. Adam understood and took out a stack of plastic boxes from his shoulder bag. Don't worry, let me see. This is raspberry nut cookies. This is chocolate cookies. This is caramel cookies. This is salted rose cookies. The stack of boxes was soon divided up and replaced by a handful of silver sickles in Adam's shoulder bag. Anyone want a drink? As usual, bring your own cup. So, there were a bunch of cups in front of Adam. Adam, what are you going to sell next time? Popcorn. I haven't made it for a long time. After refilling the cup in front of him with a cup of Coke, Adam thought for a while and said, okay. I like the white popcorn made of rice. Can you make more of that? I like caramel corn popcorn. No problem. Adam himself couldn't really explain how his snack store came into being. At first, he just thought he should have some snacks when he came to watch Quidditch training, so he brought some to his roommates, and then to his familiar classmates, and then, anyway, the ovens at Hogwarts are oversized, and Adam can only make one oven, so he can make more. It's just a matter of waving a wand, and the ingredients are all from the Hogwarts kitchen, so Adam didn't think about charging money. Besides, this is Hufflepuff. As long as these students don't die in the next 7 years, they will be an important part of the wizarding world in the future. Making Adam's food famous will be of great help to Adam in opening a branch in the wizarding world in the future. It's just that since the first student felt a little sorry and paid Adam 2 silver sickles, everyone seems to have started to pay. Then Adam went from only bringing a little when watching Quidditch training to having fixed business hours, and then from bringing whatever he made to starting to announce what he would make next time, and then it seems that he also started selling drinks such as Coke. In short, the customers of Adam's snack store have now spread to the entire Hufflepuff, and there is even a trend of spreading to other colleges. On how far-reaching the impact of a sentence "What are you eating? Give me some" can be. When Quidditch training began, the Badgers were already holding a drink and a cookie, sitting in a row looking forward to what exciting moments will happen today. Speaking of which, Halloween is next week. Cologne's cheeks were bulging, and it was a good thing that he could still speak so clearly. Really? I don't really keep track of dates. Adam broke the cookies into small pieces and fed them to Ziook and Sibi. He was a little stunned when he heard this. When is Halloween? Oh, this year is almost over. Haven't you noticed that it's getting colder recently? I didn't pay much attention, but it seems that it does rain more and more frequently, and the wind is quite strong. A cheer suddenly sounded around them. Adam and Cologne looked at the field together. It turned out that the goalkeeper blocked the quaffle with a wonderful double 8 ring. The increasingly heated atmosphere around them made the two of them stop talking just now, and instead focus on the practice on the field. It turned out that Adam really didn't keep track of dates. Until one day when Adam woke up in the strong smell of pumpkin, he noticed that Halloween had arrived. Should I prepare some candy? Adam sat on the small sofa and touched his chin to think. Okay, today's candy will definitely be very popular. Cologne who had just woken up, was suddenly energetic. "I think you want to eat it yourself, Bernard," complained speechlessly. You don't have classes in the morning, where are you going?" Uther, who was applying eyeliner in the mirror, was a little confused when he saw Bernard, who was about to go out. "Well, I'm going to the library to read," Bernard said, and left the dormitory. Looking at the dormitory door that was closed again, Uther blinked. "It always feels weird. Have you ever felt like Bernard has been going to the library a lot lately? Is there any?" "Yes, I have, but there doesn't seem to be anything strange about going to the library often, right? Don't Eugene and Adam go there often?" Eugene, who was chewing Adam's dried fish, nodded. "That's right." Uther stopped thinking about it and continued to apply his eyeliner. In order to celebrate the arrival of Halloween, Adam made a lot of candies. This time he couldn't use kitchen tools, but used the magic of gump. Speaking of which, cookies and the like are also sweets that can be made directly with Gampa. Why do you have to make them yourself step by step, Adam? Zio K stretched out his flesh pad and pulled a transparent spherical candy in front of him. There was a pumpkin-shaped filling inside the candy, because every time the cookies are baked, the taste and texture will be slightly different. This is something that Gamp's magic cannot do. I really enjoy the process of making delicious food. Adam twisted his index finger and thumb to sprinkle crystal powder, turning the rows of candies conjured by the transformation spell into real candies. After speaking, he thought for a moment. Of course, most of the process can be done with magic. Even if you do it yourself, it won't be very tiring. This is probably a very important reason. I'm too lazy to do the candies this time. You prefer the one-step method of Gampe, made step by step. Well, Zio K was still thinking when he heard CB say, "As long as it's made by Adam, I like it." You? Exclamation mark. Zio K stiffened and turned to look at CB. I saw CB sticking his head out of the pumpkin head that Adam planned to use to hold candy, looking at him with a sideways smile. Zio threw away the candy and threw it into the pumpkin head with a new sound. The lid of the pumpkin head closed instantly. When Adam turned around, he only saw two tails coming out of the pumpkin head's eye sockets, shaking violently. "It seems that I got addicted to sweets again." "Forget it. Anyway, if the pumpkin head is damaged, it can be repaired by repairing it as before, so let them go." Chapter 24. Hufflepuffin number 039's own Halloween dinner. Probably because the life he has lived since entering school has been so comfortable that Adam has forgotten that he is in the safest school in the world, Troll, in the basement. "I thought you should know." As Professor Quirrell collapsed to the ground with a thud, the entire auditorium was silent for a few seconds, and then a deafening scream broke out. Adam was enjoying the sweet pumpkin pie. When he saw this scene, he put down his fork and fell into silence. "Troll. Why would such a thing appear in Hogwarts?" exclaimed at this moment. Several violent noises attracted everyone's attention. "Quiet, Professor." Dumbledore used his wand to set off several fireworks, and then released the loudest curse. After everyone looked at him, Professor Dumbledore immediately said, "Prefect, take the students back to the dormitories immediately. That's just a giant monster. Any professor can easily deal with it, right? Why cancel the Halloween dinner for this?" Bernard said with some disappointment on the way back. "The troll itself is not the problem. Why the troll appears in Hogwarts is the problem. It is not a race that hides itself and sneaks in. Someone must have brought it in." Uther calmly analyzed. "There must be someone who wants to do something shady with this. That person is really hateful. I have been looking forward to today's dinner for a whole month, and I only took one bite of that pumpkin pie." Covered his face and complained, "When I pass by the kitchen later, I hope to get the remaining pumpkin pie from the house elves. Speaking of which, the food in the Great Hall should be recycled, right?" However, to Colin's dismay, Bruce prevented him from leaving the team, even if it was just to go to the kitchen and back to the dormitory. In fact, Colin was not the only little badger with the same idea. "Sorry, everyone, there's an unexpected incident at the school. I was appointed by Professor Dumbledore to ensure that each of you does not leave my sight. Don't make it difficult for me, okay?" Bruce clasped his hands together and spoke sincerely. The little badgers who were stopped could not blame him, so they had to follow the group back to the common room in disappointment. This kind of thing just happened. No one could go back to the dormitory with peace of mind. Everyone gathered in the common room to discuss what had just happened. It was obviously abnormal for a troll to suddenly appear in Hogwarts. For a moment, Many speculations have been put forward, and they become more and more terrifying. One person even suggested that a mysterious person might have planned this conspiracy. Adam couldn't help but glance at him. The young man's guess was quite accurate, although the speculation about a mysterious person was not recognized by everyone because of the low standard. The common room could not help but make some people panic because of various speculations. The professor's previous reactions and the hunger that gradually came over due to the interruption of the dinner all made this emotion more contagious. I say, since the Hogwarts dinner is cancelled, why can't we Hufflepuffs have our own Halloween dinner? Adam stood up at this time. But that doesn't mean you can't go to the kitchen. A senior who wanted to go to the kitchen before but was blocked looked at Bruce and Vivian, and undoubtedly got the answer that it was still not possible. Yes, we can't go to the kitchen, but to celebrate the coming of Halloween, I happen to prepare some food. Although it is mainly candies, cookies and some desserts such as pumpkin pie, at least it can fill everyone's mouth. Grumbling stomach, Adam said and looked at Bruce. If that's allowed, certainly. Bruce touched his growling belly. I'm sure the professors won't mind us having a little party by ourselves in the common room. Great. What are you waiting for? A hungry Hufflepuff said with shining eyes. Hurry up and get the food out. My wallet is ready. The other Hufflepuffs also agreed that the food Adam made was a lifesaver at this time. Don't be anxious, there are still some preparations to be done before that. Adam took out his wand under everyone's eager eyes and walked to the round table in the center of the common room. Come on, gentlemen and ladies around the round table, please give way and make some space for me to make the table bigger. Leave it to me. Vivian waved her magic wand, and the flower pots on the table flew to the shelves on both sides. The entire table suddenly grew taller, and the top became several times larger. Thank you, Vivian, that's almost it. I'll go take out the food right now. Adam hurriedly walked towards the dormitory while waiting for Adam to come back. The other excited little badgers were not idle either. They took out their wands one by one and made major changes to the common room. They moved the sofa to one side, turned the lampshade into Pumpkinhead, and conjured up a monster on the wall. Halloween decorations and more, and Adam did not let everyone's efforts go in vain. By the time everyone finished their work, the rich, sweet pumpkin aroma was already wafting in the entire common room under everyone's eager gaze. Adam finally came back. Behind him, pumpkin heads filled with candies and golden pumpkin pies were floating in the air, following his footsteps. In addition, there were pumpkins-shaped cookies, squirts of pumpkin juice, all kinds of pumpkin products and pumpkin-related foods, those I have seen and those I have never seen, lined up and fell on the table. After the table was filled, there were still many floating in the air. Put it here, Cedric turned a sofa against the wall into a table. Several seniors who were good at transfiguration spells also turned things they could not use temporarily into tables. Adam followed suit and let the food fall on those tables. Adam, give me a quote quickly. I can't wait to eat. The Hufflepuff who was speaking had already picked up a whole plate of pumpkin pie. These little pumpkin-like things exuded a strong pumpkin aroma, which was simply tempting him. This time it's a buffet, no limit on the variety, no limit on the quantity, 5 silver sickles per person, and then you can enjoy all of these. This time it happened suddenly, including the candy and all the food Adam made later were transformed by Clow Cards. Except for the labor of casting the spell, it was completely zero cost. They were all classmates, so it was just a symbolic charge. As soon as Adam finished speaking, it took everyone a few seconds to understand the meaning of the buffet, and then a cheer broke out in the common room. Long live Adam. What can you buy with 5 silvers? A cup of butterbeer costs 2 silvers. Adam put his bag in the corner as a cashier, so that everyone could put their money in and start eating. So after a short process of going back to the dormitory to get money and queuing up to pay, the little badgers rushed to the round table full of delicious food. The first one to run was the senior who had just taken the plate. He rushed to the table and grabbed a pumpkin-shaped pumpkin pie and threw it into his mouth. Then his whole face was filled with a happy smile. Chapter 25 Bernard, IN number 039, am terrified. The sofas and chairs in the common room are obviously not available to the entire Hufflepuff house. Therefore, in line with the principle that a few people have less power than everyone has none, they were turned into small round tables for serving food, so that all Hufflepuffs had to stand to eat the entire meal. But the little badgers wiped their mouths and said that this was nothing. They couldn't eat all kinds of food at one table. They had to move back and forth between different tables and you eat more standing up. The dinner that night was a carnival within Hufflepuff, and somehow several professors seemed to have heard about it later. Professor Sprout even talked about it when he took Adam to take care of the poisonous tentacles one day. You did a great job. Food has the power to soothe people, and sweets can make people feel happy, right, Professor? Sprout gave Adam a box of Honeydukes assorted candies. At the same time, he asked when Adam opened the store and said that he would come to visit sometimes. She also wanted to try the pumpkin pie and candies that so many Hufflepuffs were raving about. Hearing what his dean said, Adam felt a little bit subtle at the time. Why does he have the inexplicable feeling that he is playing a business game? His reputation is up to standard, and he is a special customer. Soon after, Adam discovered that the special customer unlocked this time seemed to be more than just Professor Sprout. Adam, Cedric came to see you just now. Uther walked into the dormitory with some confusion and passed Cedric. Come and place orders for Professors McGonagall and Dumbledore. Adam's expression was also a little complicated, but he quickly refocused on the chess game in front of him. Queen, eat the bishop opposite. After this period of progress, the chess pieces had enough confidence in Adam's current chess ability. The White Queen waved her scepter and smashed the Black Bishop to pieces. The chariot retreats. Cologne gave the order to the chess pieces, looked at Bernard who came back with Uther, and looked curious. Our package? What did you buy? I didn't buy it, it was my parents. I wrote to them before about the troll, and they sent me something for self-defense. Bernard opened the package and revealed its contents: 2 pistols, 10 boxes of ammunition, and 5 grenades. Adam took one look and his eyes widened. Oh my God, Bernard, does your family still do this kind of business? I said my parents are lawyers, but they are very familiar with this seller. After all, sometimes there are some troublesome cases. Bernard picked up a revolver under Adam's complicated eyes, operated it skillfully, and loaded the bullet. What's that? Colin was no longer in the mood to play chess. He looked curiously at what was in Bernard's hand and picked up the round thing from the package. A Muggle weapon is probably similar to a wizard's death curse, Bernard said nonchalantly, and after looking at Cologne, he reminded, don't touch the tab on it, it's a white phosphorus grenade. What? X4. Cologne and Uther looked at Bernard in horror at the same time, and even Eugene jumped out of bed. Adam looked at Cologne's hand in horror, and quickly and carefully snatched the white phosphorus grenade from Cologne's hand. Forget about guns, they can get such things. What kind of ruthless people did Bernard's parents know? The dormitory was so quiet for a while that Bernard raised his head and looked at everyone suspiciously. What's wrong? Ahem, Bernard, your metaphor is not quite right. Although these weapons can be deadly, they are still different from the death curse. Adam saw everyone's reaction and thought about it for a while to understand what the problem was, but then he realized something was wrong. By the way, how do you know the death curse? I saw it in the book. Bernard still didn't realize the problem. Book? Where can I find a book with a death curse written on it? Uther looked at him suspiciously. Books? In the library. Bernard felt guilty. Which book is in the library? Eugene pressed. Okay, I sneaked into the forbidden book area and saw it. Bernard broke the jar and said, restricted book zone? How did you get in? Cologne's eyes gleamed, and Uther gave him an elbow. The point is wrong. Cologne thought about it and discovered another important point. Adam, how do you know the death curse? This MRS pants wouldn't let me in at first, and then I taught myself the lock-picking spell and the disillusionment spell. Bernard also noticed that everyone's attitude was a bit subtle, so he told the truth. Hiss. Adam, who knew the difficulty of these 2 spells, especially the disillusionment curse, took a breath of air. Isn't Bernard's talent a bit unsuitable for Hufflepuff? However, for safety reasons, Adam kindly reminded, Bernard, there are many books in the restricted area with vicious curses on them. You must pay attention to your safety. As soon as he finished speaking, Adam noticed that the other 3 people began to look at him with strange expressions. It seems that we should educate you two about the seriousness of the unforgivable curse. I don't want to wake up one day and find that you are not on the bed in the dormitory but in Azkaban. Uther looked serious. Eugene and Cologne nodded in agreement. There is also a restricted book area. How can you go to such a dangerous place? Adam, who had not had time to do anything bad but was still being treated as an educational target, wait, you listen to my explanation. After Some popular science. Bernard touched his chin and suddenly realized, I see. But I can understand that the soul-stealing curse and the cruciatus curse are unforgivable curses. Why is the death curse also an unforgivable curse? There should be many curses that can kill people, right? There are indeed many curses that can kill people, but the death curse can only kill people, and the death curse must have a very firm and clear intention to kill a person in order to be successful. After Adam finished speaking, he noticed that Uther and the others looked at him even more strangely. No, Uther patted Adam on the shoulder before Adam could explain and sighed, go and apply for Egyptian citizenship. If you are going to be imprisoned in Azkaban in the future, I can ask my father to find a way to extradite you to Egypt. Adam was speechless. Thank you, but I don't think I can use it, he said. There are too many curses that can kill people. In comparison, the death curse is not even efficient enough. Don't look at me. Look at Bernard. I'm just rich in theoretical knowledge. His bag of things is more punishable and handcuffed than mine, okay, especially white phosphorus grenades. Adam gave his 3 roommates a lesson in white phosphorus bombs. The 3 roommates looked at Bernard and then at Adam. Are you muggles so scary? What does it have to do with me? Adam screamed innocently. My parents also wanted me to be safer in school. Bernard was a little guilty at first, but then he straightened up. The fact that the troll entered Hogwarts has not yet been investigated. What if we are in danger again later? A pistol may not be able to cause harm to the troll, but white phosphorus bullets should be able to. I am a freshman who just entered Hogwarts. In my first semester at Hogwarts, I encountered something like a troll invasion. I was extremely scared. Can't I find some means of self-defense that's not so full of martial virtue, right? Exclamation mark. Adam's hand slapped Bernard on the back. Brother, help me introduce your parents' friend. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.